Not long ago, I was just a little demon dog freely developing in the mountain god temple. Every night, the villagers guarded against me as if I were a thief. They kept saying that I had eaten 2 people, which was indeed true. The first person was a young man named Rindan, who was chased into the temple by an old Taoist priest. He was exhausted and covered in wounds, kneeling before the mountain god in the dilapidated temple, crying and begging the mountain god for protection. At that time, I couldn't understand human speech, but I saw that he was in great pain, so to help him escape, I swallowed him. The Taoist happened to chase into the temple and witnessed this scene. No, my elixir. The human elixir I spent 10 years refining. Spit it out. Seeing his grief and despair, I felt bad and swallowed him as well, letting him reunite with Rindan in my belly. This swallowing had a huge impact. From then on, I suddenly became enlightened. Not only did I grow a demon core, but I also developed intelligence. I learned a lot of dangerous and terrifying things I didn't know before. It turned out that the black-clad men who had been hunting me were called snake catchers, and they were all cultivators from the snake-catching sect. I had witnessed them hunting down a large tabby cat and discovered that human cultivators were very powerful. Cultivators could constantly improve their strength through cultivation. There were the chi refining stage, foundation establishment stage, core formation stage, and even nascent soul stage. My previous escapes were all lucky because I was ignorant and fearless. Humans are scary, and cultivators are even scarier. Now that I had finally gained intelligence, I had to live well. Since interacting with humans was too risky, I decided to only steal the domestic animals raised by the villagers in the future. Because I liked the story of Su Xian from the human world, and others called me Old Black Snake, I just took the name Su Hei for myself. I slithered my huge body to Chun family town and carefully climbed into the Chun family's pigsty. Pigs are my favorite food, with thick fat that keeps me full. Eating one can last me a month. It seemed like everyone was already resting, so I wouldn't be polite. I immediately opened my bloody mouth without hesitation, bit a piglet, and swallowed it into my stomach. The other piglets felt the danger and immediately let out terrified screams. But unexpectedly, just an hour later, the pigsty door was suddenly kicked open. Startled, I quickly climbed up the pillar to the pigsty's rafter. Then, I saw 2 burly men throwing a bloody figure into the pigsty. This trash wasn't beaten to death, was he? So what if he's dead? Dared to fight young Master Chio for a woman? This is the consequence. All right, let's go, it stinks. Only after the 2 men left the pigsty did I dare to carefully peek. Suddenly, the young man who had clearly died opened his eyes again. Corpse revival. My pupils shrank, and I suddenly thought of a term. I held my breath and didn't dare to move at all. The young man laughed madly as he crawled up from the ground. Haha, this immortal has finally seized a body and been reborn. The host is also called Chun Fan, and even has the same name as me. Broken engagement, trash, damaged Dantian. Fine, since this immortal has inherited your body, I will naturally avenge you. I won't let any of those who humiliated you go. Chun Fan muttered to himself, moving his body. Seriously injured. But that won't stop me, he said, suddenly turning his head to look at my location. Crap, he spotted me. I shrank on the rafter, afraid to breathe, and my heart rate dropped to the lowest level. A strong sense of crisis filled my heart, and the scales all over my body stood on end. Although I didn't understand what the young man was saying at all, the feeling he gave me was very terrifying. He just said he was an immortal, so he must be a high-level cultivator. Could he be a snake catcher? What should I do? If he really is a snake catcher, I will definitely die without a burial place. The young man glanced at me and then ignored me. He shook his head, a look of disdain on his face. He thought to himself, just a first-level spirit-opening little demon beast, not even worth my attention. I'll just circulate my energy to heal my injuries and release some spiritual energy to scare him away. Hee, I didn't expect this Yao clan treasure, the demon god cauldron, to also be reborn with my divine sense. Grand Void Ancestral Dragon, you miscalculated. At this moment, I didn't know what he was thinking. The terrifying aura on the young man made me tremble with fear. This guy must have discovered that I stole the pig and is brewing some kind of spell to kill me. No, I can't just wait for death. The young man was now chanting a spell in his heart. Heaven and earth as the game, all living beings as the pieces. I, Chun Fan, in this life will definitely step this world under my feet. Seeing the terrifying aura on the young man becoming stronger and stronger, I couldn't hold back any longer. If I didn't act now, when the other party recovered his injuries and finished accumulating energy, it would be my death. This person clearly discovered me, but pretended not to see me, just not wanting to arouse my vigilance, and then secretly accumulate power to sneak attack me. Cultivators are so insidious and vicious. A snake demon with my abilities can't be tricked by you, Suhei. I suddenly sprang out, my speed as fast as lightning, rushing down like a whirlwind. In a split second, I directly swallowed him whole in one bite and immediately crawled towards the forest. At this time, Chun Fan, who was swallowed into my belly, was in a dazed state. Logically speaking, he deliberately released some of his immortal power, so the other party should have been scared away by his aura. A small first-level spirit opening demon beast dares to attack me? Truly courting death. Giving you a chance, and you didn't run, you even dared to bite me. Seeking death. Boundless ocean. Chun Fan threw a punch, and a boundless wave of energy burst out like a tsunami. My snake body immediately swelled up into a balloon and grew bigger and bigger. At this time, my demon core emitted a faint light, and a gentle force supported my body to prevent it from bursting quickly. Before I could catch my breath, I saw that Chun Fan had already arrived at the location of the demon core. He spat out his true chi and directly struck the demon core. In the next second, the hard demon core shattered into powder like fragile glass, and the intense pain almost made me faint. My body almost split to the brink of death. So painful, am I going to die? I can't move. I was not reconciled. I had clearly condensed the demon core and gained intelligence. If I had known it would be like this, I would have been beaten to death rather than come here to steal pigs. As my consciousness faded, Chun Fan was greedily devouring my flesh and blood to replenish his chi and blood. Suddenly, a small, dark cauldron drilled out from his spiritual sea and landed at the location of my demon core, slowly rotating. This object was the Yao clan treasure, the demon god cauldron. Chun Fan was amused, and just as he was about to retrieve the demon god cauldron, he was shocked to discover that his connection with the demon god cauldron had been severed. In the next second, an boundless and terrifying aura gradually emanated from the cauldron, and that aura gradually transformed into a golden giant dragon. What? The demon god cauldron absorbed the demon core fragments of this beast? Why is my demon god cauldron helping this animal? Could it be that this guy is not an ordinary snake demon at all? Bad. Chun Fan immediately felt bad. At this time, an incomparably powerful energy swept out from the giant dragon's mouth, heavily smashing onto Chun Fan's body. I'm not reconciled. How could I, a dignified immortal, end up like this? Chun Fan let out a miserable scream. In this instant, his physical body instantly shattered, and even his soul completely turned into nothingness. Everything returned to silence. My swollen and about to burst body gradually began to recover. I don't know how long it had been. 2 pigs arched at my body a few times, their teeth grinding against my scales, making a squeaking sound. Pain, so painful. I was startled awake by the painful convulsions. Stupid pigs, I'll swallow you all later. You bit my tail, it hurts so much. But I'm still alive. I remembered that my demon core was shattered by that person. The demon core is the foundation of every demon beast's cultivation. Without the demon core, how can I cultivate? I am completely ruined now. That's not right. How am I still alive if my demon core is shattered? Confused, I quickly checked my body. I saw a small black cauldron in the original location of the demon core. Many complex patterns were carved on the surface of the cauldron. A flood dragon encircled the body of the cauldron, its head and tail connected, lifelike as if it were alive. Isn't this the thing that young man called the demon god cauldron? Could it be that it replaced my demon core and saved me? Not only that, how can I see inside my own body? Can I introspect and see the surrounding situation? Great. This is a skill that only cultivators have. I've actually learned it too. Even if I close my eyes, I can still see. It's too clear. Now it will be more convenient to hunt food and avoid ferocious beasts. Wait, it's not over yet. It seems like a lot of things have poured into my head. Those are the lines of true chi circulation. Every step is clear, and they are somewhat familiar. It is the young man's cultivation method. There is no mistake. My head itches. Am I going to grow a brain? Although I don't know what this thing is for, it can definitely heal injuries. I'll try to imitate that person's energy circulation. I remember it was heaven and earth as the game, all living beings as the pieces, and then naturally operate the demon core. I calmed my mind and began to run the energy circulation path, and gradually wisps of spiritual energy drifted in from the heaven and earth, and as they surrounded each other, they turned into a dragon of spiritual energy and merged into my body. This scene was exactly the same as Chun Fan's healing last night. As the spiritual energy entered the body and circulated, the wounds slowly healed in the nourishment. After a stick of incense, I reopened my eyes in surprise. The body can really heal injuries. Just by breathing out for a moment, the body was filled with spiritual energy, and there was a kind of light and quick texture, as if I had taken a spiritual herb. I vaguely had a feeling that this technique was mainly used to cultivate and improve cultivation, and healing injuries was just a side effect. Strange, my demon core is obviously broken, so I should not be able to store spiritual energy. Could this cauldron become my new demon core? Well, let's leave this ghostly place first. Find a place to sleep for a few days before thinking about cultivation. Just a random young man is so powerful, I must never easily provoke humans in the future. Before leaving, I glanced at the 3 pigs, and simply did it once and for all, swallowed the fattest one and left, and then fled all the way to the remote wilderness. In the blink of an eye, 3 days have passed. Since swallowing the human elixir and gaining enlightenment, my brain has always been popping out with new knowledge from time to time. After swallowing Chun Fan, this feeling has become even more obvious every day. I gradually understood the cultivation system in the human population. It turns out that demon beasts and human cultivators are the same, and they are also divided into many stages. Demon beast ranks are divided into spirit opening 7 levels, foundation establishment 7 levels, demon core 7 levels, nascent soul 7 levels. My current realm belongs to the peak of the first level of the spirit opening stage, which is equivalent to the peak of the first level of the chi refining stage in humans. Recently, I often dreamed of Chun Fan while sleeping, and at the same time, some unfamiliar memories appeared. In the dream, I saw those primordial demon beasts, and I began to yearn for them. I also want to become such an existence, want to no longer be hunted, and want to live well. Then I can only take the path of cultivation, so I began to cultivate. A week later, the shed skin was completed, and I was different from before. The horns on my head became longer, and the scales became harder. They were very majestic. But what troubled me was that my size actually changed from the original 33 feet to only 6 feet or so. Obviously, I would get bigger after shedding my skin before. Fortunately, although the body has become smaller, the speed and strength have increased a lot. The flexibility has also become stronger, and the skin and flesh can be stretched several times. With hard work, I should still be able to swallow large prey. Now it is certain that the cauldron has indeed become my new demon core. I have a premonition that when the spiritual energy in the cauldron is full, it will be the time for me to break through. The consumption of cultivation is too great. The exercise allows me to absorb the spiritual energy of the heavens and the earth, but absorbing spiritual energy alone is not enough. Demon beast cultivation cannot be avoided. If you want to break through, you need a huge amount of chi and blood to supplement, and you also need a lot of food. I looked down at the mountain and found a watermelon field. There is a wild boar in the field, eating really fragrantly. According to the cultivation system, I am now at the peak of the first level of the spirit opening stage. Although the wild boar is a large beast, but its intelligence is not open, and its level is lower than mine. So, as long as I can be fully prepared, I will definitely have a good meal. Should the stone be able to throw it to death? Very good, it didn't even notice me. I was planning to get closer before launching an attack, but unexpectedly, the wild boar suddenly turned its head to look over. I froze on the spot, drenched in sweat. Is this treasure you're offering any good? The wild boar looked ferocious and charged head-on like a runaway train. I was so scared that I frantically twisted my body and ran away as fast as I could. Crap, it's a dead end ahead. No, I can't just keep running. I have to go all out, or I'm done for. I immediately gathered all the inner energy within me and focused it on my tail, then suddenly swung it. In the next second, A whistling stone smashed towards the wild boar. First, injure it, and then, before I could figure out the next step, a shocking scene unfolded. The stone, like a cannonball, slammed into the wild boar's body. The force of the impact actually created several large holes in the wild boar's head and body. That's it. It's dead. Am I really that powerful? No, wild boars are smart. It's probably playing dead. I have to throw all the stones. I then smashed the wild boar's head to a pulp until it was completely still. Only then did I stop. This time, it should be dead for good. That was close. I almost got counter-killed by the wild boar. Wait, to prevent it from pulling a zombie, I need to take care of it some more. I cautiously broke the wild boar's limbs and crushed all its bones. Now I should be able to eat it without worry. They say wild boar meat is tougher than domestic pig meat. Hopefully, it will last longer. I was mentally calculating as I opened my mouth wide and swallowed the wild boar in one gulp. A moment later, I suddenly coughed violently, opened my mouth and spat out an egg-sized crystal, which turned out to be a demonic moth when it landed on the ground. It belatedly dawned on me, and cold sweat poured down my back. It's a demonic moth. It's not an ordinary wild boar. It's actually a pig demon. How terrifying. It is said that demonic moths contain violent energy and cannot be swallowed raw, or you will explode and die. If you want to absorb it, you have to refine it into a pill, but I don't know how to make pills. In the wild, when demon beasts devour prey, they swallow the corpse and the demonic moth together. If swallowing the demonic moth raw would cause one to explode and die, wouldn't the demon beasts have gone extinct long ago? Wait a minute. Most of the knowledge in my brain is related to humans. The physiques of demon beasts and humans are different. Then I should be able to eat it. In that case, I won't be polite. So I opened my mouth wide and swallowed the demonic moth in one gulp. After the demonic moth entered my belly, a warm heat emanated from my stomach. The demon god core inside me was absorbing the power of the demonic moth. Here it comes. The feeling is here. My body suddenly shook violently, and my aura soared, breaking through that bottleneck in one fell swoop. Transcendent Spirit Level 72. Success. I exhaled a stream of hot air, my heart filled with joy. This successful breakthrough proves that I am not mediocre in terms of cultivation. 2 scales on my tail have turned golden. Out of curiosity, I waved them around and was surprised to find that these 2 golden scales were incredibly sharp, almost as sharp as my shocking heaven. After that, I originally intended to leave this place, but when I looked back, I was suddenly startled. In the moonlight, a boy holding a fork was walking towards me, staring intently at me with cold eyes. Crap, I've been discovered by a human. Is he going to attack me in that stance? Is this person also a cultivator? Is it another Chin fan? In that brief moment, countless thoughts flashed through my mind. In a daze, the boy's face faintly transformed into Chun Fan's face. Danger! My scalp instantly tingled, my eyes filled with horror. Without hesitation, I swung my tail to block the boy's fork, then turned and disappeared without a trace, reaching my fastest speed ever. Humans are so scary. Before his comrades arrive, I need to get out of here. Looking at my fleeing figure, the boy's pants were already soaked with nervous sweat. After realizing what had happened, he ran excitedly towards home. Dad, the black snake ate the pig demon that killed my mom, but he didn't eat the moth. A loud, sweaty voice responded in disbelief. What are you babbling about, you little rascal? Soon after, I ran for several kilometers before stopping, panting heavily. What's going on? Why did his face turn into Chin Fan's? Impossible. I must have been hallucinating. I shook my head and suddenly realized that the immortal had caused me a great psychological shadow, to the point where everyone looked like Chin Fan to me. I even have nightmares when I sleep, dreaming of Chin Fan's figure. Is this teenage phobia? So pathetic. I'm an ambitious demon aspiring to become a world-opening behemoth. I can't keep going like this. I'm already at the mountain god temple. Should I go in and pray like those spirits, just for peace of mind? After all, I gained consciousness here. Maybe this place is my blessed land. It's said that having a mental demon is a major taboo in cultivation. To break through a mental demon, you must be sincere. I broke off a few branches and worshipped in a decent manner. Mountain God Grandpa, I'm here to see you again. It smells so good. Where did all these offerings come from? The mountain god probably doesn't want to waste food. I'll help him eat these offerings first, then replace them with something more sincere. With that said, I immediately climbed onto the table, opened my mouth wide, and swallowed all the offerings. Human food is just different. It tastes especially good. After a satisfying meal, I mimicked the human posture and kowtowed 3 times. Thump, thump, thump. Mountain god, bless me. Bless me to break through my mental demon and cultivate smoothly. Bless me to become stronger and stronger. Bless me to live a good life. After completing the entire ritual, I suddenly felt much lighter, as if I had been purified and had no more distracting thoughts. Satisfied, I was about to leave. At this moment, a strange laugh suddenly came from outside the door. Little girl, let's see where you can run. I shivered and quickly darted behind the statue to hide. I saw a beautiful young woman rushing in from outside, and 3 men chasing after her. You guys wait outside. I'll go in and have some fun first. The leader, young Master Chio, grinned wickedly and instructed them. Seeing this scene, I frowned and wanted to leave quickly. But behind the statue was a wall, with no back door or anything. To leave, whether I climbed out the window or went through the front door, I would be discovered. I could only sigh and wait for them to finish before leaving. Young Master Chio walked up to the woman with a lecherous smile. Little girl, no woman that young Master Chio sets his eyes on can refuse me. I advise you to cooperate, or I'll make your life a living hell. The woman was in tears, clutching the dagger in her hand tightly. Even if I can't kill you, I can still kill myself. You'll get nothing. Hearing the conversation between the two, I was shocked. Young Master Chio? Could it be him who arranged for Chun Fan to be thrown into the pigsty? To beat Chun Fan half to death, he must be a master. I must not be discovered. But is he in heat? Humans are so strange. They seem to be able to get horny anytime, unlike us, who only get horny in the spring. Young Master Chio greeted her with a smile and snatched the dagger from the woman's hand. How dare you threaten me? Then today, I'll first do the deed and then kill you. The woman frantically covered her clothes. Chio Gao, you forced me to call off the engagement, killed my beloved Chun Fan, and now you want to humiliate me. I'll never let you go even as a ghost. Seeing this scene, I couldn't help but shake my head. In my opinion, killing for reasons other than food is unnecessary. Mountain God, please bless them to finish their business and leave quickly, so I can. Just as I was thinking this, my tail accidentally touched the mountain god statue's palm. With a bang, the palm fell in front of the 2 of them. Hope immediately flashed across the woman's face. The mountain god is showing his divine power. Blessings from the mountain ridge will bring blessings to the world. Mountain god, please save me. After she finished praying, she saw a giant 3-legged snake head extending out. Mommy, it's a monster. The woman turned to run, but accidentally bumped into the dagger in young Master Chio's hand. Young Master Chio was dumbfounded. Crap, crap, crap. The 2 burly men outside the door rushed in at the sound of the noise. What's wrong, young master? Are you done so quickly? Young Master Chio cursed angrily. Are you an idiot? There's a little demon causing trouble in this temple. Damn it. What kind of little demon is hiding behind the statue, pretending to be a god and messing up my good time? Get out of here for me. I am an outer disciple of the snake-catching sect. You're unlucky to have met me. Under his instructions, the 2 burly men began searching around the statue. They're coming to kill me. No, rather than waiting to die, I might as well go out and fight. So I arched my body and suddenly bit one of the men. The burly man hurriedly retreated in a panic, dodging the attack. It's a snake demon. What's so scary about a snake demon? I'll gather my strength and kill it with one blow. I'll use it as a gift, and I should be able to formally become an apprentice in the snake-catching sect. You guys go. Hold it back. Target its 7-inch spot. Whoever kills it will be handsomely rewarded by me. Hearing this, the 2 burly men transformed, wielding clubs and attacking me. I knew that I had to take down everyone before young Master Chio finished gathering his energy, in order to have a chance to survive. So I swung my tail with all my might and started to fight back. Unexpectedly, after the 2 burly men were hit by my tail, their arms were severed and blood splattered everywhere. They were dead in the blink of an eye. These guys are too weak. Seeing this scene, Young Master Chiu was immediately terrified and turned to run without hesitation. You just wait. The snake-catching sect will not let you off. I'll have my master turn you into a pill. Hearing this, I immediately chased after him, swinging my tail directly onto his forehead. With a soft thud, young Master Chiu's head shattered and he fell to the ground. I breathed a sigh of relief, still feeling uneasy. Thankfully, this guy chose to run instead of gathering his energy. I narrowly escaped another disaster. I really am lucky. I glanced at the blurry, giant statue and suddenly felt a strange, inexplicable palpitation. Ever since entering the temple, bad things have been happening. Could it be that I'm being punished by the mountain god for stealing the offerings? No, I have to replace the offerings for the mountain god. I quickly rolled up the corpses and threw them onto the offering table, then returned to the prayer mat and kowtowed a few times. Mountain god, please don't blame me. These are all for you as offerings. Please accept them with a smile. As I said that, I had a thought. Perhaps the mountain god was trying to remind me to cultivate as soon as possible, or else I would only be able to hide forever. I understand. Thank you, mountain god. Don't worry, I'm going back to the mountains to cultivate now. After saying that, I turned to leave. Soon after I left, the statue faintly shook, and a strange smile seemed to appear on its face. Time passed quickly, and a week later, after these past few days of hard cultivation, the understanding of the second layer was still far from complete. The small beasts I eat every day are not only not filling, but they also don't help much with cultivation. If only I could have another wild boar. I sighed helplessly and started hunting, wanting to use the principle of waiting for the hare to come, but after waiting for a long time, I couldn't even catch a slightly larger prey. Forget cultivation, it's hard enough to fill my stomach. Speaking of pigs eating melons, and me eating pigs, maybe I should just try eating melons myself. Just as I was salivating at the watermelon, I heard the voices of a farmer and his son by the river. This year, the river is flooding. Dad has caught too many fish, right? Only when I got closer did I see clearly that the speaker was the boy with the fork. So this watermelon field belongs to his family? This boy is called Wang Xianxia, and his father is called Wang Daniel. They are both farmers in the village. They also have an old mother and a younger sister, Wang Ya. We exchanged glances from afar. The boy also saw me, but without any words, he picked up the fish basket and ran towards me. I hid in the tree and watched him secretly. I saw him placing a basket of fish under the tree and then quickly leaving. Black Snake, these fish are to repay you. Come down and eat them. Having learned human knowledge, I could naturally understand his words, and I couldn't help but feel puzzled. Why would this silly kid give me fish? Could it be poisoned? But these fish are still alive and kicking. Whatever, I'll try a bite first. I climbed down, bit a fish and swallowed it. After tasting it, it wasn't bad. The thinking of these two-legged beasts is indeed strange. They're actually giving food to a snake. Don't they know the story of the farmer and the snake? Wang Xianxia smiled after seeing this scene and walked back home. Hee, so Black Snake really likes to eat fish. Just then, two men in black clothes stopped him. Hey kid, let me ask you something. Have you seen the Black Snake recently? Have you seen it? Speak up. Are you mute? Wang Xianxia saw the token on the black-clothed man's waist and realized that they had come to catch the Black Snake. So he quickly shook his head and said he hadn't seen it. The other black-clothed man said, "Seen your brother Ding. The little brat doesn't know anything. It's useless to ask him." Just as he finished speaking, a flock of birds flew out of the place where I was. The black-clothed men noticed the movement and decided to go and take a look. Wang Xianxia was extremely anxious. He could only pray silently in his heart, "Black Snake, run quickly. Don't get caught." It seemed like his prayer worked. Just as the two black-clothed men were about to go check, a villager's shout suddenly came from afar. "People are being eaten. The Black Snake is eating people in the river again." Hearing the words, the two black-clothed men immediately rushed towards the sound. Wang Xianxia was completely stunned by this scene. Black Snake was clearly just here eating fish. How could it be eating people by the river at the same time? At this moment, I was running for my life. I wasn't far away just now, so I heard the conversations of several people. When I was running, I accidentally broke a few bird eggs, and a bunch of stupid birds pecked me all over the head. I was almost discovered by the snake catchers. But when did I eat people in the river? Also, why did that boy say he hadn't seen me? Sigh, the human world is too complicated for me to easily understand. The most important thing now is that the snake catchers have set their sights on me. If I want to live, I absolutely cannot come near this area again. I have to escape to the mountains on the other side of the river. I should be safe if I hide for a few months. Sigh, it's going to be winter in 3 months, but unfortunately, I haven't stored any food. I'm afraid it will be difficult to improve my cultivation during this time. Just as I was focused on swimming, a large shadow suddenly opened its mouth and bit from under the water. Fortunately, I was quick-witted and dodged it in time. Crap, how can there be a monster in this river? Is it an eel? It came from upstream, and its shape is similar to a snake. Could it be eating people in the river? What makes me sad is that it's it. Seeing that it's seriously injured, it must have had a great battle with the snake catchers. Why is it still attacking me? Wait, could it be trying to escape and eat me to replenish its energy? By the same logic, can I treat it as food for the winter? Forget it, it can escape from the snake catchers, so its strength must be weak. It's too dangerous, and it's important to protect my life. After weighing it, I cautiously chose to retreat, but unexpectedly, it was determined to hunt me down. I frantically twisted my body to dodge a wave of attacks. If I use all my strength to break through its relatively weak abdomen, I should be able to escape. Since that's the case, I randomly relied on my agile body to bite off a piece of meat from the eel's tail. The meat was sticky and gave off a pungent smell as soon as it entered my mouth. As soon as I finished spitting, I looked around and saw that raging flames had ignited around me. I was clearly in the river. How could this be possible? Is it an illusion? Does the eel spirit's mucus cause hallucinations? I felt so hot just now. Is it an uncontrollable conditioned reflex? Wait, I remember Chin Fan's cultivation method mentioning that when facing an illusion, you must first calm your mind and gather all your essence into one point of your consciousness. Heaven and earth are the game board. All living beings are the pieces. Gather divine consciousness, shatter this illusion. Following my loud shout, the surrounding raging flames instantly vanished. Before I could even rejoice, the eel demon had already opened its massive jaws and was right in front of me. Crap, I can't dodge this. Instinctively, I lashed out with my tail, the golden scales on it striking its head. Unexpectedly, the next moment, with a crackle sound, the giant eel demon was cleaved in two like tofu. What happened? Has my tail become this powerful? If I could refine a body full of spiritual energy, wouldn't I be invincible? I mustn't get careless. There was still a bit of luck involved in this fight. It was already heavily injured and essentially rammed itself into my spiritual energy. I should quickly pack things up and hide in the mountains, just to be safe. I immediately began packing up the eel demon's meat into separate bundles. This demon beast meat should be enough for me to cultivate in the mountains for several months. Plus the demon core, I should be able to break through to the 3rd level of spiritual communication. A wooden token fell from the meat pile. The moment I saw the token, I felt like I'd been struck by lightning. This token is actually from the snake-catching sect. It ate a snake catcher. Demon brother, although you could be considered as ridding the snakes of a menace, but if you weren't me, then I can only obey natural laws. But rest assured, I will properly enjoy you. Your death won't be in vain, including your demon core, which will be with me as well. Crap, it's a little hard to swallow. Never mind, the snake catchers are probably coming soon. Better to make a quick escape. I can refine the demon core in the mountains later. The water demon that was eating people by the river wasn't the old black snake at all. The one fighting the water demon here was the old black snake. Junior brother Xianxia suddenly understood, that cunning snake demon. So, are we still going after it? Ding Hai shook his head. Ahead is Iron Bear Mountain. There's a great bear demon there, a peak 3rd level spiritual communication cultivator. Its strength is not to be underestimated. The mountains are vast and the forests are dense. We might not find that old snake for months, and we might run into the bear demon. Xianxia nodded. Senior brother, have you heard of this? Several days ago, the old black snake swallowed the alchemist from the City and Swords sect here, along with the human pill he had cultivated for many years. The medicinal effects of that human pill are bound to still be in the black snake's body. Senior brother, haven't you been stuck at the 3rd level of the chi refining stage for many years? Now that such a rare opportunity has presented itself, why don't we secretly? Ding Hai laughed heartily. You're quite clever, kid. But it's too risky for just the 2 of us to enter the mountain now. I'm afraid we'll end up losing the chicken instead of catching it. Xianxia smiled slightly. Senior brother needn't worry. In a few months, the heavy snow will seal the mountains. At that time, both the bear demon and the snake demon will hibernate. When that time comes, we'll go up the mountain, and we're sure to gain something. Ding Hai's eyes lit up when he heard this. That makes sense. When the first snow falls, it will be the day the old black snake becomes a sacrifice for our cultivation. 2 months passed in the blink of an eye. In early winter, the temperature plummeted and food outside became scarce. Snakes will gradually reduce their physical functions to reduce consumption and finally find a cave to hibernate. Snake demons like me are also inevitable in this natural law. In these 2 months, I refined the demon cores and flesh and blood from last time, but I didn't expect to break through. The breakthrough from the second to third level of spiritual communication is much more difficult than from the first to the second level. However, fortunately, 3 more sprites have appeared on my tail, and the spiritual objects inside the top are almost full. At least I've reached the peak of the second level. I just need that last little opportunity to break through to the third level. It's a pity that winter is coming. My body is getting stiffer, and the meat is almost gone. Next, I can only hibernate first, and then go out to forage and cultivate next spring. I immediately released my divine sense to confirm there was no danger, then dug out a cave in the deep mountains and forest and crawled in. Every winter is a good time to go up the mountain to hunt snakes, and Ding Hai and his party naturally began to take action. They gathered a group of experienced young men to go up the mountain for hunting. Wang Xiaoyou's father, Wang Daniu, also came along, and this time, everyone who helped search would be rewarded with a string of money, so give me a lot of thought. Hearing this, Wang Daniu thanked him repeatedly. Don't worry, immortal, our snake village people may not have any other skills, but finding snakes is our specialty. These two, my hunting dogs, have been specially trained, and if there is the slightest smell of snakes, he was interrupted by Ding Hai before he could finish speaking. All right, stop talking nonsense and find him quickly. Wang Daniu nodded awkwardly and replied, Okay, De Huang and Er Huang, go find the snake nest. An old hunter nearby became indignant when he saw this scene. People from this snake sect have such a big temper, Wang Daniu sighed. Brotherly, don't talk nonsense. People have skills, unlike us. We're just here to benefit. You don't know, my Xiaoyou loves to read. He treats a broken book that others don't want like a treasure. When I get this string of money later, I'll send him to study with Mr. Chu. I'm sure I can make that child go bad. The noses of the 2 hunting dogs kept circling aground. Continuously barking, Wang Daniu went up to take a closer look. Immortal, look at this hole. It's probably the old black snake's cave. The barking and footsteps woke me up from hibernation. I was shocked and cried out in my heart. The dog's nose is so sensitive. My body is now cold and stiff. It's the most vulnerable time. Not to mention fighting. Even running away is difficult. Wang Daniu pointed to the excrement outside the cave. Immortal, look, there's also the old black snake's excrement. Ding Hai went up to observe. Idiot, this is bear excrement. Does your dog know how to find it? Wang Daniu looked confused. It shouldn't be. My dog has never made a mistake in finding snakes. Ding Hai then pointed to a cave in the distance. I found a big cave over there just now. You take the villagers and look for it there. Wang Daniu responded and immediately started to act. At this time, I was in the cave house with lingering fear. I let out a sigh of relief. I was almost scared to death. Fortunately, I was smart and cautious. Not only did I block the entrance with stones, but I also covered it with tree branches and put bear dung on the branches, plus I dug a 6-foot deep hole. They shouldn't be able to tell. Although I may be scaring myself, I still have to quickly gather myself to get my body back in case of emergency. After a few villagers left, Zhao Wenjua expressed the doubts in his mind. Senior brother Ding, although it's hidden deep, but this is clearly a snake cave. Ding Hai smiled darkly. This is of course a snake hole. Now that the goal has been achieved, those fishermen are useless. It's less of a string of money if one less is alive. So, did senior brother send them to the bear cave? Of course, since you understand everything, you know what to do next. Don't worry, senior brother, I'll lure the bear demon out. First, I'll use the knife to kill someone, then we'll work together to deal with the bear demon, and finally clean up this snake demon in Dongjiang is not too late. Every word of the conversation between the two was heard by me. They wanted to kill their companions. People's hearts are so terrible. No, the point is that they actually know I'm here. I'm in danger now. They just said to fight the bear demon first. If I take the opportunity to rush out and eat the bear demon, I can break through to the third level of spiritual communication in one fell swoop. And then I will fight the snake catchers. My God, isn't that stupidly courting death? At this time, Ding Hai looked at Zhao Wenjua's back, his eyes revealing a cold light. Stupid junior brother, it's a pity that the 2 monsters this time are only enough for one person to break through. Otherwise, I can spare your life after defeating the bear demon. After a while, Zhao Wenjue returned to the spot. Senior brother, I've set it up. Hee. Xiong will wake up in less than half an incense stick. As he said, a few minutes later, a violent roar came from the cave. Help, it's a bear demon. Run away. The entire hunting team was completely in chaos, fleeing desperately outwards, but the bear was extremely fast. Chasing to the rear directly fanned several people to death. Immortal, please save us. Hearing Wang Dania's words, Ding Hai snorted coldly, revealing an expression of disgust. You lowly people. You've caused such a big disaster, and you still have the nerve to ask for help. You should die here. Hearing this, everyone finally woke up. Damn it. They did it on purpose. They deliberately led us to the bear cave, just to kill us and save money, so that we would die. You don't even want to live. The old hunter gritted his teeth, picked up the bow and crossbow behind him, and shot an arrow at the front. Zhao Wenjue dodged sideways. The arrow flew past his side. Although it didn't hit, his storage bag around his waist was hit and scattered. The contents inside flowed out and scattered on the ground, including pills, jade bottles, lotus dew, and 2 jars of spiritual wine. I, who was secretly peeking, was secretly overjoyed, and quietly curled a pill with my tail. This seems to be called Huiyuan pill. What a magical pill. Just smelling it makes my body feel awake. Mortals dare to attack immortals. It's simply treason. Although Zhao Wenjue was furious, he didn't have time to deal with that mortal. He could only bend down to pick up things. Senior brother, come and help me pick them up. The bear demon is coming over later. Ding Hai was very impatient. He picked up a handful of pills and put them into his storage bag. Trash. Whatever you pick up is mine. The bear demon was massacring in the crowd, and the hunting team was soon left with only a few people. I didn't expect these old bones to be so persistent. They can dedicate their lives to the snake-catching sect. It's not in vain for them to live. Senior brother Ding, you can also go down to accompany them. Hurry like a law, steel front. While Zhao Wenjue was speaking, he was pinching the prisoner, and his palm was pinching a finger, and the prisoner exploded a burst of green light in an instant, and turned into a fierce steel front and scraped towards Ding Hai. Ding Hai was caught off guard and was blown away, flying straight towards the bear demon who was slaughtering in the distance. Zhao Wenjue, with my. Ding Hai also understood in an instant that he was forced to stand with the bear demon. Zhao Wenjue smiled inwardly. He's also a cultivator anyway. How could a mortal hunter hit his storage bag? Did you really think he was trash? Senior brother, you don't know how long I've been preparing for this show with you. Don't you want to swallow the demon beast this time? Now these are all yours. I don't want any snake demons or bear demons. I just want you to die. Senior brother Ding, the breakthrough materials are right in front of you. You have the ability to take it. Ding Hai didn't have time to scold people anymore. At this time, the bear demon had already rushed in front of him, and death was inevitable at close range. Ding Hai roared in despair and threw the starting axe at the bear demon, only to hear an explosion, and both figures were blown away. Ding Hai's limbs were blown off, and his head was blown off on the spot, and the bear demon was also badly injured. The whole body hair was blown black and burned into baldness, and one eye was also blind. Zhao Wenjue smiled when he saw this scene, as expected of senior brother, doing things so frantically before he died. I have avenged the great revenge. It's time for me to report back to the sect. This bear demon has been completely enraged. I don't want to be involved. What should I say? Zhao Wenjue picked up the pill while talking to himself, and then quickly left here. At this time, I in the cave looked at this scene with a daze. Good guy, isn't this a snake man infighting? The bear demon was seriously injured. Is this the legendary turning point? So now, it's time for me to go out. After I crawled out of the cave, I found that there were 2 more Huiyuan pills at the entrance of the cave. I don't know why I'm so hungry. I don't know if I can't absorb and use it well if I eat 3 pills. Why don't I hide it behind my teeth first and swallow it at a critical moment? At this time, countless wolves are approaching here, smelling the blood. It's just right. I'm hungry after eating Huiyuan pills, and I don't want to eat human corpses. Why don't I take them to fill my belly first? The huge body that just ate quickly shrunk. In just a few breaths, I shrank back to my normal size and discharged a pile of black ash. Because all this happened so fast, the wolves next to me didn't see what happened, and suddenly there was one less companion. I pounced on another evil wolf again, opened my bloody mouth and bit on the wolf's head. The wolves were in chaos and retreated. All the wolves just saw that it was a snake attacking them. I ate too in just such a moment. So hungry. So hungry. Why am I so hungry? Could it be because there is such a good bear demon in front of me, I can't satisfy myself just by eating wolves? I didn't expect that the bear demon was so powerful even with such heavy injuries. I was afraid that his strength in the previous battle with the snake catcher was at least the peak of the 3rd level, and I was only the peak of the 2nd level. However, I can't let food overwhelm my head and take a fluke risk myself. But I'm still so hungry. This is the desire of the demon god Top. He wants me to eat the bear demon. Also, although he is higher than me in cultivation, he is indeed seriously injured, and he can't really become stronger if he just runs away. He just used up his last strength to slap the wolves away, as long as I am clever and cautious enough. The odds of winning should still be great. For the sake of becoming stronger, fight. I dashed forward and rushed towards the bear demon. The bear demon roared angrily. Although he was seriously injured and when I was blind, he would never allow any demon beast to approach his territory. Raising his bare paw and slapping towards me, in midair, my body bent like a rubber band and shot out directly to the bear demon's face. The scales at the tip of my tail stood up. Like a sharp sword, it pierced his other eyeball. The bear demon let out a pig-killing scream and slapped his face frantically, slapping me down. It hurts. This bear demon is 10 times more powerful than the previous Xianxia demon power. Fortunately, his eyes were blinded by me, so it will be much easier next, as long as I come again. No, the previous medicine seems to be over. I'm getting stiff again. I should take another pill to warm up. As for this little pain, it's not too late to heal after killing him. I instantly ejected and rushed up again, biting on the back of his neck. The bear demon's eyes were almost blind, and he couldn't see the direction at all, so he could only slap around randomly. It hurts so much. I'm sure his bones were broken by him. No, I can't let go. I must not let go until I bite his neck off. Die. The bear demon saw that slapping was useless, and directly grabbed my body and threw it out, and then tightly covered his neck. His throat had been bitten through. You shouldn't live long. Next, I just need to make small moves in the distance. Steel stones should be of no use. Let's use this. I then rolled up a big tree and smashed it hard on the bear demon's head. The bear demon struggled for a while before stopping completely. He should be dead, in case of fraud. I'll use my power to heal my injuries and wait and see what happens. What sound? Damn it, you cunning wolves, get out. Do you want to come back and pick up the leak? Don't even think about taking away my spoils. There's no way. Eat the last Huiyuan pill and kill them all. 2 hours later, the surrounding wolves had been completely killed. Now it should be safe. I'm afraid that the effect of the Huiyuan pill won't last long. I'm still injured, so I need to find a safe place to hide and refine my power before the snake catchers come looking for me again. These are corpses everywhere. Alas, I don't know how many reincarnations it will take for them to be reborn as humans. But they just died like this. This looks like that young man's father. He's already dead. Why haven't you run? You'll freeze to death. I poked the big wolf dog with my tail and found they had already frozen to death. Could it be that they can't leave even after their owner has died? I don't know why, but I feel strange inside. In this battle, only the most treacherous person is still alive. I must live on, no matter what I become in the future. Soon after, I found a cave. Outside this cave is a pool of water, making it hard for ordinary people to find. It should be relatively safe. While I can still move, I should refine the bear demon first. So fragrant. This guy is so delicious. No wonder the demon god's peak is always restless. Starting to absorb, that familiar pleasure is back. Waves of fiery blood and energy flow into my muscles and bones. Success. Level 3 of spiritual communication. I've finally broken through to level 3 of spiritual communication. Not only that, but I've also reached the peak of level 3 of spiritual communication. 10 spirit scales have grown on my tail. As the saying goes, the rougher the seas, the richer the fish. This battle was worth it. Hiki, maybe by next spring, I can become a king. After completely refining the bear demon's energy and blood, my body length not only increased to 8 feet, but the 11th dragon scale grew out. Even the divine stone can see further. Winter passed and spring came quickly, and 3 months went by. My divine stone expanded its range and discovered 2 wild boars nearby, so I decided to go out for a meal to stretch my muscles. One of the 2 wild boars is a female and pregnant, so I can't eat it. I'll eat this male, focusing on its tough underbelly. In these past few months, I've gained a very powerful new understanding called ecological balance. Now that I can't go back to the village, I have to find a way to be self-sufficient in this mountain. Just becoming the king of the mountain isn't enough. If I want the prey to thrive, I can't kill the young anymore. There are a total of 20 roe deer, 20 wild boars, 30 elk, hundreds of rabbits, and also monkeys, sika deer, wild mountain goats, wolves, and so on. There are hundreds of them in total. As long as I don't engage in one in killing and eat with a plan, solving the problem of food and clothing won't be a problem. But cultivating with just these isn't enough. Judging from the last incident, cultivation must be accompanied by opportunities and adventures. It's also time to go back to my old home. Soon after, I left my territory and headed deep into the mountains. I came to a valley, drawn by the scent of other snakes. I come here every year during this season. It's become a habit. Spring has arrived, and all things are recovering. It's mating season again. In previous years, this little white snake would always come looking for me when I returned. But this time is different. I have developed intelligence and embarked on the path of cultivation, becoming a snake with a firm will. You and I are on different paths now. Let's part ways. If it were a year ago, I would be recklessly sowing my seed everywhere. But after becoming enlightened, I am no longer interested in such base desires. The purpose of this trip is solely for cultivation. I pushed the little white snake away and looked towards the depths of the Serpent Valley. That's right, it's the snake fruit. It matures once every 3 years, and this spring is when it matures again. Taking it after it matures will enhance cultivation, especially beneficial for snakes. 3 years ago, I accidentally swallowed a snake fruit and became the feared old snake king. If I swallow 3 this time, I wonder if I can break through to level 4 of spiritual communication in one fell swoop. Once I reach the middle stage of spiritual communication, I can cast some spells, no longer relying purely on brute force. Just as I was looking forward to it with fiery eyes, a voice suddenly came from outside the Serpent Valley. Senior Sister Song, this is the Serpent Valley that Junior Brother Ding and I discovered before. The snake fruit tree is inside. Hearing the voice, I immediately felt something was wrong. Damn it, someone's here. This voice sounds familiar. It's the snake catchers again. A moment later, Zhao Wenjua and his senior sister, Song Shiyu, entered the valley. It's a pity that Junior Brother Ding died saving me last time. Song Shiyu nodded slightly. Let's not mention the past. You've done well this time. Consider it paying for your mistake. Then all the snake fruit this time will belong to Senior Sister. No, Senior Sister won't take advantage of you. I only need 2 snake fruits. Thank you, Senior Sister. But Senior Sister, all spiritual medicines have demonic beasts guarding them. We must be cautious. Song Shiyu sneered upon hearing this and took out realgar powder, smearing it on her body. Don't worry, I borrowed a very powerful magic weapon from Master. The only snake demon in this area is that old Snake King. If he dares to come out, we can use his snake gall as medicine. The two spoke as they entered the Serpent Valley one after the other. Hearing their conversation, I panicked. They're here for the snake fruit and have prepared a special magic weapon to deal with me. What should I do? Should I run? No, the snake fruit is about to mature. If I run, they'll benefit. I'm already at the peak of level 3 of spiritual communication, and the snake catchers may not be as powerful as I think. Didn't the eel demon and bear demon kill snake catchers before? While thinking, the smell of realgar spread into the valley. This smell is like rotten, stinky eggs to snakes, foul and unbearable. Smelling it once makes you nauseous, smelling it twice makes you vomit, smelling it 3 times makes you faint. The smell is too strong. I jumped into the pool of water and decided to hide and observe first. Maybe those two will have internal conflicts later. After all, humans seem to have internal conflicts easily. A few minutes later, Zhao Wenjua and Song Shiyu arrived in the depths of the valley, stepping on realgar powder, which snakes extremely feared. Snakes and insects molted and died one after another. Some small snakes that didn't have time to run were even suffocated, and some were directly blocked to death. Senior Sister Song, what if the old Snake King doesn't appear? Song Shiyu snorted coldly and replied, if he doesn't come out, we'll just pick the snake fruit. But I think he'll come out. After all, the old Snake King has lived for over 10 years. His life is nearing its end, and he's counting on this snake fruit to extend it. Hiding in the dark, I couldn't help but curse after hearing the two's conversation. Your life is nearing its end. Your whole family's lives are nearing their end. My physical strength is growing day by day. That woman is just talking nonsense. But villagers have always called me Old Black Snake. Am I old? Why do they call me that? I frowned, suddenly feeling that things weren't so simple. But now is not the time to think about these things. They're going to pick the snake fruit. Seeing the two getting closer and closer to the snake fruit tree, the earth suddenly began to tremble. The water in the puddle rippled, as if there was an earthquake. A dark, huge figure emerged from the earth, suddenly biting towards the two. Xianxia smiled coldly and retreated quickly. So, you really showed yourself. Old black snake. Seeing this scene, I was terrified. The black figure was a large snake. This snake was huge, with an oval head, light golden pupils, and triangular scales. Its appearance was exactly like mine, obviously of the same species. This is the real old black snake. I'm a fake. Could it be that the old Snake King used to stir up trouble and gain a bad reputation, but then grew old and stopped going out? I happened to take the blame for him 3 years ago. After understanding the truth, my feelings were complicated. This is the first time I've seen a snake demon besides myself. At this moment, the old Snake King was also displaying extremely fierce strength. Although he was old, his combat power wasn't weak at all. His venomous fangs were incredibly sharp, directly biting towards Xianxia. Xianxia chanted an incantation, and next second a large mana claw shield blocked it. This snake catcher is strong. The old Snake King could still resist despite his age. She pulled out a copper bell, enlarging it rapidly in her palm and holding it horizontally in front of her. The old Snake King crashed into it, and the copper bell made a buzzing sound. Audible sound waves swept out, shaking the old Snake King dizzy and causing a brief daze. Xianxia took out a shuriken and threw it, hitting the scales and making a crisp sound. It only penetrated slightly. Such tough scales. If I could wrap these snake scales up, I could definitely forge a precious armor. Xianxia's eyes burned as she continuously threw shuriken. Wenjua also took out scale talismans and shot out waves of sharp blades towards the old Snake King, leaving shallow wounds on the scales. The two fought and retreated. They used various scale talismans, shuriken, and hidden weapons, completely spending money. Whenever the old Snake King charged, he would be blocked by the copper bell, dizzying him and causing him to stall. It was too much to bear. I hid aside, secretly watching. So this is a human magic weapon? This woman is much more powerful than the last one. The old Snake King is in a bad situation. Should I go up and help him? Or should I eat the snake fruit and run? But the snake fruit hasn't matured yet. Eating it might not be useful. I hesitated for a moment and then made up my mind. Let's do it. After all, we're both snake demons. I'll help him secretly. I picked up a rock, ready to throw it. Just then, there was a strange movement behind the snake fruit tree. A coarsely dressed young man with a bamboo cage on his back and a hoe in his hand came to the snake fruit tree. He dug out the snake fruit tree with a single stroke. When the crane and the clam fight, the fisherman wins. Thanks to the snake catchers for leading away the old Snake King, this fruit tree is mine now. Seeing this scene, I was furious. It was too late to stop him, so I accelerated and bit towards the man. You bastard! Digging up the tree and destroying the roots. You deserve to die. I rushed up and swallowed the man in one bite. The man didn't even have time to scream before he entered my belly and died on the spot. Even I know to leave some for the future when hunting. You humans actually dig up the tree and destroy the roots. You deserve to die. Although I was angry, I was helpless. Damn it. I accidentally swallowed the tree too. This is terrible. I could only digest some of the leaves. These leaves turned into endless, violent energy, surging inside my body. It felt like my bones were about to break. The main body of the tree couldn't be digested, making me stretch straight, making it extremely inconvenient to move. I decisively swung my body and spat the tree out. At this moment, I was surprised to find that the demon god peak had reached the great perfection of level 3 of spiritual communication. That was close. So it wasn't poisonous, but the energy was too strong. I digested a lot of leaves. Could the violent energy from before be due to these leaves? There's no time to think about it. I have to run quickly. I must not let the snake fruit tree fall into their hands. Just a few minutes after I left, the snake catchers successfully killed the old Snake King. Wenjua smiled and praised. Senior sister song is amazing. It only took less than an incense stick of time to defeat the old Snake King. Hearing this, Xianxia said coldly, that's natural. But, junior brother Zhao, your performance was average. Let's go. It's time to pick the snake fruit. The two then came to the place where the snake fruit tree was, only to find that the tree had been dug up. Xianxia's lips twitched. She gritted her teeth and said, damn it. Who did this? Wenjua glanced at her and said calmly, senior sister, if you needed this snake tree, you could have just said so. Why do you need to do this behind my back? Hearing this, Xianxia immediately straightened her expression. She turned to stare at Zhao Wenjue. What do you mean? Are you suspecting me? That's ridiculous. I haven't even suspected you yet. Junior brother Zhao, aren't you projecting because you have a guilty conscience? Senior sister, just call out the accomplice who stole the tree. I promise I won't tell Master when we return to the sect. Bullshit. I don't have any accomplices. If it wasn't you, then there must be another expert. Another expert? Senior sister, do you take me for a 3-year-old? I could clearly hear their conversation from deep underground. I don't know who did it either. I don't know much about that female cultivator, but I've witnessed Zhao Wenjue's scheming. I'm more inclined towards the latter. Zhao Wenjue took out the snake-catching trace's transmission jade token and said coldly, since senior sister refuses to admit it. Then let's call Master to decide. Just as he was about to act, a large hand suddenly grabbed the jade talisman. Enough is enough. Master knows your movements and specifically sent me to protect you in secret. As soon as I arrived, I saw you fighting amongst yourselves. So pathetic. This person was Mu Yun, the strongest among their generation. The two immediately saluted with extreme respect. Zhao Wenjue hesitated for a moment and asked unwillingly, Senior brother, did you perhaps take the snake tree? Mu Yun shook his head. I didn't dig it. There's another expert, and he's very cunning. He sent a mortal to dig the tree and then came to pick him up. Otherwise, with the fluctuations of spiritual energy, I could have chased after him. Now, to track him, I can only rely on footprints. Mu Yun said, closing his eyes, spreading out his divine sense and carefully investigating. But he found that the footprints disappeared out of nowhere. Zhao Wenjue quickly asked, So what do we do now? Mu Yun frowned. Don't worry, as long as that person is still alive, I'll definitely be able to find him. Hearing this, Zhao Wenjue flattered him, that's for sure. With senior brother's mid-chi refining cultivation, you'll definitely be able to find the thief. What? Mid-chi refining? There's no way I can deal with that. This cave should be deep enough. As long as I temporarily shut down my divine sense, even a great perfection chi refining cultivator might not be able to find me. I quickly retracted my divine sense and stopped moving in the underground cave. Just then, a rich fragrance wafted out. Oh my god, the snake fruit is ripened. The scent of the ripened snake fruit was extremely strong and couldn't be hidden. Even through the soil, it could slowly seep through. Soon, the 3 snake catchers also smelled the scent of the snake fruit. Underground, Mu Yun's eyes glowed. Without hesitation, he dove into the soil. This was a common technique among cultivators, earth escape. At this moment, even though I hadn't spread out my divine sense, I could clearly feel the vibrations underground. I felt an indescribable sense of crisis. After swallowing the snake fruit, I immediately fled deeper underground. Heaven and earth as a chessboard, all beings as pawns, demon god's peak. Refine it for me, please, quickly. A moment later, Mu Yun chased after me to my original location. You're quite good at escaping. This earth escape technique isn't weaker than mine, but I wonder what his cultivation is. I don't care what your cultivation is. With the magic weapon left by the ancestor, as long as it's not a foundation establishment cultivator, I'll kill you without mercy. Daring to steal from my snake-catching trace, you won't escape death today. He sneered and increased his speed, quickly moving through the soil, getting closer and closer to me. At this moment, I was desperately digging through the soil. Demon God's Peak, don't slack off. Refine it for me quickly, or we'll both be finished. I was roaring inwardly, feeling an unprecedented sense of crisis. The Demon God's Peak seemed to have received my call, suddenly bursting out with a strong attraction, pulling the snake fruit into it. The snake fruit dissolved at a speed visible to the naked eye, and golden energy rapidly spread throughout my body. Muscles and bones strengthened, bones vibrated, venomous fangs grew, and even my body, which hadn't grown in a long time, started to lengthen. A layer of old snake skin slowly peeled off my body, and a completely new body emerged from within, breaking through to the 4th level of spiritual awakening. Just as I completed my breakthrough, Mu Yun caught up nearby. When he saw me, his eyes were filled with disbelief. He thought he was seeing things, and after repeatedly confirming, he gasped. After chasing for so long, he realized he wasn't chasing a cultivator, but a snake. No, this snake just broke through to the mid-stage of spiritual awakening, and before even meeting me, it knew to grab a tree and run. This level of intelligence is something that many powerful demons who have reached the foundation establishment stage don't even possess. We can't kill demons, we must capture them alive and bring them back to the sect for research. It will be a great achievement. As he gave chase, I started fleeing again. Finally, I broke through from the 4th level to the mid-stage of spiritual awakening. The number of scales on my tail increased again. I felt bigger, faster, and stronger. This time, I'll definitely escape successfully. At this time, Mu Yun's eyes burned with fervor as he took out an item from his storage bag. This item was a golden ring, called the Beast Driving Circle, a top-tier spiritual treasure. With the Beast Driving Circle, even late-stage spiritual awakening demons would be helpless to resist. After getting within 10 meters, he raised his hand and cast a spell. The Beast Driving Circle flew over, the golden ring gradually enlarging as it tried to slip over my neck, emitting an irresistible pressure. If I was caught, I was doomed. Realizing the danger, I whipped my tail along the way, desperately lashing out at the Beast Driving Circle. But to my surprise, the Beast Driving Circle only trembled slightly before coming at me again. My scales couldn't shatter it, or even knock it away. Seeing that I was about to be imprisoned by the Beast Driving Circle, I risked everything and released all my spiritual stones to compete with him for control of the magical treasure. However, my idea was too naive. He had refined this magical treasure with his spiritual stones to be unbreakable. Only a foundation establishment stage cultivator could forcibly erase the refinement. Since spiritual stones were useless, I had to use my physical body to forcibly imprison it. So, I opened my large mouth and swallowed the Beast Driving Circle whole. The Beast Driving Circle was thrashing around in my stomach, but thankfully I was thick-skinned and fleshy enough to withstand it for a while. The moment I swallowed the Beast Driving Circle, I turned and ran, burrowing deeper into the earth. Mu Yun was shocked and enraged. He activated his Earth Escape technique and gave chase. Time quickly passed. Half an hour later, Mu Yun gradually realized something was wrong during the chase. This beast was extremely cunning, leading me in circles for a whole incense stick's worth of time in this cave. Plus, this terrain was too narrow, forcing me to constantly use the Earth Escape technique. My true energy was being depleted too quickly. I had to finish this quickly. Beast, return my treasure. He shouted loudly and sped up again. At this time, I was not running at full speed, but maintaining a speed slightly slower than his, slowly closing the distance between us, giving him a sliver of hope of catching me. The magical treasure in my stomach quieted down. It seemed like it didn't have much energy left to cause trouble. Just escaping wouldn't do. I had to find a way to kill him to eliminate future threats. The best way for a demon to deal with a human cultivator is close-quarters combat. Although he was chasing me, he always attacked from a distance of 10 meters. This distance was relatively safe for him. I could slow down appropriately to lull him into a false sense of security, then launch a counterattack when he wasn't expecting it. Mu Yun smiled coldly when he noticed my speed gradually slowing down. This beast must be running out of strength. Once I catch it, I'll cut open its stomach to retrieve the treasure, then bring it back to the sect to gain merit. At the same time, he took out a talisman and placed it in the air. Hurry, hurry, as the law commands, Heavenly Gang Windblade. With a swoosh, the talisman immediately scattered, transforming into 3 wind blades that sliced towards me. I immediately whipped my tail, and the 10 black crystal scales on it instantly extended, crashing into the wind blades. Bang, bang, bang. 3 crisp sounds echoed as the wind blade talisman, capable of slaying any mid-stage demon, didn't even scratch my fur. In the next second after the 3 wind blades were deflected, I charged forward, rushing towards Mu Yun's face. Mu Yun was dumbfounded. What were those scales? They were so tough. He reacted quickly, and a snake-shaped longsword appeared in his right hand. This sword was called the Snake Slayer, and it had been with him for 20 years. In his life as a snake catcher, he had killed no fewer than 1,000 snakes, nearly 100 of whom were snake demons. Beast, you dare attack me? I originally intended to capture you alive, but since you seek death, don't blame me. You can be proud to die under this sword today. Mu Yun slashed at the direction I was charging from. At close range, I did not retreat, but instead chose to confront him head-on. The scales collided with the longsword's edge, producing a crisp sound. The snake slayer in Mu Yun's hand snapped in response, and was chopped into countless pieces by my scales. He was sent crashing into a distant rock, sustaining severe injuries. Mu Yun was struck by lightning, unable to believe what had just happened. It's broken? I used all my true energy to resist that attack, and I'm still this badly injured. Impossible. This is definitely not an ordinary snake demon. Could it be a dragon-like beast in disguise? No, I need to escape quickly. I need to get back to the surface. But can my remaining true energy support the Earth Escape technique? There's a hole above me. Heaven is helping me. Muyun was overjoyed and quickly cast a wind spell, rushing upwards through the hole. He decided that after escaping, the first thing he would do would be to report the dragon-like beast in disguise to his sect. However, to his surprise, before he could escape to the surface, he was suddenly entangled by a layer of snake skin from above. This is the skin that beast shed when it advanced. Could that beast have planned this all along? Muyun didn't have time to react. At this time, I had already rushed in front of him. With a stab, I bit off one of his arms. A piercing scream echoed to the surface. While Zhao Wenjua and Song Shiyu were puzzled, the next second, the soil exploded, and a figure covered in blood rushed out. Looking closely, it was their eldest brother Muyun, who had escaped using the alarm talisman. Run! There's a dragon-like beast in disguise down there. A dragon-like beast in disguise? Seeing their eldest brother in such a sorry state, the creature below must be terrifying. Zhao Wenjua immediately pulled Song Shiyu and Muyun in the opposite direction, while I burst out of the ground. Without a word, I chased after Muyun. I was careless. I didn't expect that even with one arm missing, he could still activate the alarm talisman. If he escapes this time, there will definitely be endless troubles. Muyun stuck 2 Gale talismans on his legs, and covered in blood, he looked like a madman, running quickly towards the entrance of Thousand Snake Valley. There lay a huge black snake corpse. Just as Muyun passed by, the head of the old Snake King suddenly moved, opening its mouth and spraying a mouthful of venom from its poison sac, instantly hitting him. Too close. Muyun didn't have time to react. Damn it. Even after being severed, the snake's head can still release venom. How could I make such a basic mistake? He hurriedly took out a detoxification pill he had on him and swallowed it. Crap, the snake is catching up. I can only use my life-saving trump card. Muyun paled in alarm and crushed the top-grade talisman in his hand. The next second, his speed increased again, running dozens of meters away in the blink of an eye. You want to run? You will surely die today. Seeing the distance between him and me growing, a look of determination flashed in my eyes. I raised my tail, enduring the intense pain, and bit off a scale, then threw it with force in Muyun's direction. From the tail whip to the scale flying over was only a moment. With a swoosh, the scale instantly shot into his back. Muyun's body was directly pierced, and then he fell headfirst onto the ground. I cautiously went up and smashed Muyun's body to pieces, ensuring he was thoroughly dead. With a wave of my spiritual sense, I erased the brand on his storage bag and imprinted my own mark. At this moment, my heart seemed to hear a voice, Wah, live well, live on. That was the voice of the old Snake King at his last moment. Looking at the snake head in front of me, I suddenly felt as if I had been struck by lightning, and in an instant, a scene from 3 years ago flashed through my mind. At that time, the snake fruit ripened, bearing 2 large fruits, fragrant and overflowing, and I, without any spiritual awareness, instinctively went up to devour them. However, there were too many snakes swarming, and the snake fruit's fragrance attracted over half of the snakes in Thousand Snake Valley. The final lucky ones were only 2. One can imagine the bloody and tragic battle that would ensue. However, at that moment, a deafening hiss came, and the old Snake King appeared. His aura overwhelmed everything present, and all the snakes stopped fighting and prostrated themselves on the ground. I was also frightened and dared not go forward, but unexpectedly, the old Snake King handed me a snake fruit. Because of this snake fruit, I achieved what I am today. Snakes have always been selfish, ruthless, and cold-blooded creatures. Even members of the same species will kill each other for survival. But there was no coldness in the old Snake King's eyes, only gentleness. I didn't understand why he was so unconcerned, and I stood there in a long silence, unable to shake it off. A sense of sadness gradually grew in my heart. This indescribable emotion slowly accumulated, eventually transforming into towering hatred. 5 Snake Sect, I, Suhei Yuer, will not rest until we can no longer live under the same sky. After calming my agitated emotions, I dug a large pit and buried the old Snake King's body inside. This was imitating the human practice of burial for peace, hoping that in the next life, he could have a good reincarnation and be reborn as a human. No longer suffering. A snake's life is only a short 10 years or so. Even if the old Snake King hadn't died in battle, his lifespan would have ended soon, but all beings with spiritual awareness are concerned about their descendants. I guess that's why you gave me the snake bone. If I become strong enough in the future, I will definitely not forget to pass on the tradition. Don't worry, I knocked my head 3 times against the big rock before leaving Thousand Snake Valley. returning along the same path towards my own territory. Not long after I left, I suddenly saw a figure lying by the stream not far away. This person was covered in black marks with multiple snake bites, already on the verge of death. It was Xianxia, one of the snake catchers who had escaped. She looked like she was only barely clinging to life. A ferocious glint flashed in my pupils, and I subconsciously wanted to rush forward and devour this woman. But then I cautiously dismissed the thought. She had clearly already escaped, so why was she lying here, poisoned by snakes? Something was strange. What about Xianxia? Last time he framed Ding Hai to death. Could he have done it again this time? In the old Snake King's head, a snake's head will remain active for a long time after being cut off. The five-snake sect wouldn't make such a basic mistake. Could he have deliberately placed it at the exit? But why would he do that? While I was thinking, a large snake crawled over and began to devour Xianxia from top to bottom. But just as it swallowed halfway, a loud bang came. Xianxia and the large snake died instantly in the explosion. Seeing this, I secretly sighed and quickly moved away. It was indeed a trap. Xianxia is too terrifying. At this time, on a hill outside Snake Village, Xianxia knelt in front of a tombstone and heavily kowtowed 3 times. Father, mother, little sister, your child will avenge you. Lu Tong, Chen Shui, Ding Hai, Xianxia, Mu Yun have already gone down to accompany you. 3 remain. Xianxia's eyes were red, and he clenched his teeth, saying each word, Qin Dalin, and all his disciples, I will not let a single one of them go. It's about time. I should go back. Your child will come again another day. After saying these words, he stood up and returned outside Thousand Snake Valley. Then, he released venomous snakes to bite himself. Before long, he fell to the ground, unconscious. About half an hour later, 2 figures, one old and one young, landed outside Thousand Snake Valley. Master, elder brother's whereabouts are unknown. Elder sister's aura has dissipated. Junior brother is still alive. Luckily, he still has a breath left. Quickly give him a detoxification pill, and with true energy healing and several months of recuperation, his life should be safe. That person said, taking out a pill and injecting it into Xianxia's body, while simultaneously circulating his cultivation technique for him. Qin Dalin's face was gloomy as he continuously used spiritual stones to scan his surroundings. Outrageous. I want to see what kind of demon did this, causing me to lose 2 disciples. If I find him, I will skin him alive. I replanted the fruit tree in the cave. The environment in the cave is almost the same as where it grew. I hope it can still live. After doing all this, I took out the storage bag and began to examine it. Inside were quite a few provisions and pills. 1,000 snake record, and a handful of jade slips. The 1,000 snake record recorded tens of thousands of snakes and hundreds of snake demons, all of which snake catchers had encountered before, with detailed introductions to the characteristics of each snake. I took a quick look and found my species. Black eagle snake, slightly poisonous, eats eagle grain, grows to 2 meters long as an adult, and can reach 5 meters as a snake demon. The strongest black eagle snake that snake catchers have encountered was a snake demon at the peak of the 7th level of Foundation establishment. It reached 18 meters in length and could breathe fire poison from the demon fire in its body, killing anyone it touched. In the end, this snake was beheaded by the 13th generation ancestor and refined into a pill. Seeing this record, I couldn't help but be secretly shocked. Even at the peak of the 7th level of Foundation establishment, I could still be killed with 1 arrow. The most important thing now is to become stronger. It would be best if I could learn some spells. Next, I took out the jade slips to investigate, and to my surprise, I found that they recorded many spells of cultivators. The 5 element spells, fireball spell, water bullet spell, 5 element shield spell, earth shield spell, water shield spell, fire shield spell, basic spells, gravity spell, etc., as well as detailed cultivation steps. Unlike ordinary demons, I have intelligence no less than that of humans, so I will definitely be able to learn these spells. A month passed in the blink of an eye. After a month of relentless cultivation, my Earth Shield spell was much faster than Mu Yun's, and the scales on my tail were almost fully grown. With the Earth Shield spell and the tail-digging speed combined, ordinary snake catchers would definitely not be able to catch up with me. The only shortcoming is that the Earth Shield technique can currently only be maintained for the duration of a stick of incense. The fireball technique is also quite well refined. What I can't understand is that the wand snake record says that demonic fire only appears in the black eagle snake's body after it has been properly activated. It seems I learned it in just a few days. Just as I was eating my fill, a wolf demon suddenly intruded into my territory. This wolf had eyes like lightning, with fur that was half black and half white. There was a crescent moon mark between its brows. This was no ordinary wolf, but a moonhell wolf, and it even knew magical arts. Seeing this, I was quite surprised. With a thought, the divine stone produced the beast taming ring. It was perfect to capture the wolf demon and make it my mountain patrol underling. It roared and lunged at me, trying to tear me apart. I immediately used the divine stone to activate the beast taming ring, which flew out like a bolt of lightning and landed on the wolf king's head. The beast taming ring shrunk, firmly locking around its neck. The wolf king immediately rolled on the ground, thrashing and howling in pain. Then, I had a strange feeling as the divine stone, through the beast taming ring, spread through every inch of the wolf king's body, as if I could control every part of it with a single thought. I had an idea and experimented. The wolf king immediately struggled to get up, but no matter how much he resisted, he couldn't control his body. He could only stand up, walk in front of me, wag his tail, and play dead. I used the divine stone to give another command, and the wolf king performed various unbelievable actions. Hiki, this beast taming ring is really interesting. Let's go. Take me to patrol the mountain. I lay on the wolf king's back and slapped his butt with my tail. The wolf king let out a humiliated howl and began to run quickly through the forest. During the patrol, I discovered that the number of various small animals had increased, but the number of sheep remained the same. They were probably eaten by wolves. Not bad, not bad. The self-sufficiency plan is working well. At this time, I smelled a familiar scent. Following the scent, I discovered that it was the estrus-driven little white snake from Wan Snake Valley. Could it have come here following my scent? Looking at it now, it should also be a black eagle snake, just a color mutation. It hasn't fully transformed into a human form and can't speak yet. Since we're the same kind, I should take care of it. The little white snake rubbed its head against me. The sturdy and curious wolf king came closer, but his fierce appearance scared the little white snake stiff. The wolf king looked at me aggrievedly, the beast taming ring on its neck making it uncomfortable. I sighed and said that I could remove the beast taming ring and give it its freedom, but it had to agree to 2 conditions. First, willingly become my underling, hunt for me every day, and bring the prey to my cave, and second, patrol the mountain for me every day. If any humans appear within 10 kilometers, it should quickly tell me. If it can't do that, I'll kill it. The wolf king nodded repeatedly, indicating that it agreed. After removing the beast taming ring, I took the little white snake back to the cave. I'll teach you some simple cultivation methods. You can stay in this cave from now on, guarding the snake fruit tree and meditating. As long as I have something to eat, you won't go hungry. At the same time, 100 miles away, Xindalin and Muley appeared on a hilltop. It's a pity that after Zhao Wenjua woke up, he could only provide a vague silhouette of the demon beast. Otherwise, with the power of the great treasure compass, why would we have to search for so long? Hearing his master's words, Muley cautiously said, Junior brother Zhao said that when his brother escaped from the underground, he called the opponent a juvenile dragon. Xindalin shook his head. That's impossible. If it was really a dragon, not to mention you, even I would die if I encountered it. How would there be an opportunity to chase and escape? I guess it's at most an enlightened snake spirit, or one that has been possessed by a cultivator and gained some intelligence. Your brother probably told them that because he lost, and it was too embarrassing to admit. As Xindalin spoke, the compass in his hand reacted. Seeing this, his face lit up with joy. Found it. It should be in the mountain ahead. You and I will search from opposite sides of this mountain. If you find the snake demon, send a message immediately. After saying that, the 2 figures went one after the other, entering Iron Bear Mountain to search. Half an hour later, Muley searched the edge of my territory. He could sense the smell of snakes nearby, but he didn't know if it was the snake demon. Just as he was about to continue searching, a large group of wolves suddenly appeared and pounced on him. Unworthy fools, seeking death. Muley's eyes flashed, and a palm-sized thunder seal appeared in his hand. He raised his hand and slapped it on the ground. The talisman immediately transformed into a lightning bolt, hitting the center of the wolf pack. The thunder exploded, instantly sending 5 wolves flying, their bodies charred black. The 2 in the middle were instantly reduced to ashes, not even leaving a trace. The Wolf King was horrified by this sight and turned to flee without hesitation. Muley shouted coldly, pointed at the thunder seal in his hand, and another lightning bolt shot out, chasing after the Wolf King. The Wolf King reached the edge of the cliff and jumped. The lightning exploded 3 inches behind him, charring his tail golden. He howled miserably and fell. That was the Wolf King's howl. Not good. Could the snake catchers have come? Little White, you stay in the cave and watch the snake fruit tree. Don't come out. I have to get far away before they find this place. Even if I have to fight, I can't fight here. I immediately rushed out of the cave and spread out my divine stone upon reaching the edge of my territory. I wonder how the people who came this time compare to Mu Yun? As I pondered, my divine stone suddenly touched another divine stone. The owner of that divine stone shuddered and quickly approached this place. In a few flashes, he arrived in the distance. Found you. Although, as the master said, it's just a spirit-attuned 4th-level snake demon, the master instructed that. I must not be reckless. I only need to delay it for the duration of an incense stick, and he will arrive. First, send a secret message. He immediately took out the message jade talisman and crushed it. All right, but the speed isn't fast. Junior brother Zhao said that this demon is extremely cunning. Not only does it have the ability to fight beyond its level, but it will also deliberately show weakness to lure the opponent to chase and then counterattack. I must be cautious. Isn't it just showing weakness? I can do that too. Not only that, I can also pretend to be weak and take advantage of the situation. Thinking of this, he pretended to be arrogant and loudly shouted, "A mere spirit-attuned 4th-level demon beast. Why does the master need to come? A 6th-level chi refinement cultivator like me can kill you easily." He seemed to be chasing at full speed, but in reality, he only used 5 points of speed, leaving 5 points for contingencies. Similarly, I didn't run at full speed either. I only used 2 points of speed, leaving 8 points. I didn't even use the Earth Shield technique, deliberately stringing him along. This person's speed is so slow, not even half of Mu Yun's. He's clearly deliberately showing weakness. This kid looks young, but he's very cunning, not as easy to fool as Mu Yun. As for his pretending just now, saying that he doesn't need his master and can handle it alone, that's obviously a case of protesting too much. His master will probably arrive soon. I can't take risks. I'll escape at full speed first and see his reaction. If he dares to chase at full speed. Seeing me suddenly speed up, Muley, who was chasing from behind, instantly changed his expression. What he wanted most was for me to stay and trick him, so he would have plenty of ways to hold me back. But I didn't even try to test him and ran away at full speed, which completely exceeded his expectations, rendering his preparations useless. Kid, stop for me. Muley launched a lightning bolt, blasting a large pit in the mud in front of me, but I had already run far away. Muley gritted his teeth and used earth tunneling technique at full speed, chasing downward. You killed my brother. I won't let you escape today no matter what, you little beast. Have the guts to stay and fight me. I can kill you without using any magical artifacts. Hearing this, I couldn't help but sneer. As expected, he's chasing at full speed. He's really seeking death. My figure suddenly stopped, and I used earth tunneling technique to instantly eliminate the inertia. Then, I turned around and charged straight at Muley at an unbelievable speed, almost twice as fast as Muley. His expression immediately changed drastically. What? Tail whip gun, damn it. I'm going to crash. I can't stop. Reacting, he immediately used Thunder Seal technique, and a bolt of lightning shot out, exploding directly between me and him. Because we were too close, not only was I struck by lightning, but even Muley himself was affected by the lightning. Spitting blood and flying backward, crashing into the charred mud. His expression darkened, and he was about to activate the Thunder Seal again when I suddenly opened my mouth and a black flame, so dense it was almost viscous, shot out towards his face. This simple, basic fireball technique, in my hands, displayed unbelievable power. The black fire overflowed, the air distorted, and the mud melted into lava, like hell's demonic flames sweeping towards Muley. Muley was horrified and immediately took out a jade pendant and held it in front of him. However, under the interference of my gravity technique, the jade pendant in his hand suddenly shifted slightly, preventing it from completely covering his body. All of this happened too quickly for Muley to think, and the fireball technique had already arrived. With a bang, the flames rolled over, stirring up a magnificent black fire, completely melting the mud behind him, and lava flowed out. Muley also let out a shrill scream. The reason I could emit flames of this level was because I had recently found a fire-type medicinal herb, Solvine, which caused my fireball technique to undergo a qualitative change. After the smoke cleared, only Mulei's left shoulder and part of his body had completely melted in the flames. Burned to nothingness. "Master, save me." Hearing his disciple's hoarse screams, Chendaling immediately followed the source of the sound and arrived in time. "Mulei, your master is here." He actually caught up at this critical moment. His master must be difficult to deal with. "I have to escape." I didn't have time to follow up with an attack and started running away at full speed. In a few breaths, Chendaling landed in the deep pit. He quickly threw Mulei a bottle of pills. "This is golden essence pill. You first cultivate here and heal your injuries. Your master will go and chase down the evil beast. Wait for you to recover and then come and join your master." Leaving these words behind, Chendaling came to the ground with a face full of anger. His divine sense spread out, instantly exceeding 100 meters, quickly locking onto the black snake that was fleeing rapidly in front of him. "It's all my fault. I caused Mulei to lose an arm. This beast, I must kill you." At this moment, for the first time, I had the feeling that the other party could find me, but I couldn't find the other party. I only felt a divine sense collide with me, containing a chilling killing intent. He is at least a late-stage chi refinement cultivator. It's impossible to fight against this level of old monster. I must escape at full speed, and absolutely cannot fight him head-on. My mind was racing, and I used earth tunneling technique again to enter the ground. Chendaling's divine sense sensed my actions and was slightly surprised. He actually mastered earth tunneling technique underground. Strange, this beast is so intelligent. The distance between the two sides continued to close, and even more unfortunate was that there was a layer of rock ahead, all of which was hard granite. Even if my tail could smash the stones, the speed would inevitably be too slow, so I could only escape to the surface. Thinking of this, I immediately burrowed out of the ground, and with a flash of my figure, I darted towards the cliff above. "Beast, where are you running?" A few breaths later, Chendaling also burrowed out of the ground. He was just about to adjust his figure and continue to chase when there was a loud sound like a gunpowder explosion. Countless rocks fell from the cliffs on both sides, smashing towards Chendaling's face. Not good. That beast must have done it. His face changed, and he hurriedly cast diamond body protection, while I continuously detonated the spirit axes. Layer upon layer of hundreds of large stones crashed down. It was extremely spectacular, and the explosion lasted for half the duration of an incense stick before it ended. Looking around, I could see that Chendaling had been completely buried under countless stones. He cursed angrily, wanting to push away the boulders on his body, but found that there were too many stones stacked up, and he couldn't push them at all. Even using earth tunneling technique was completely useless against this kind of rock. Damn it, this beast is planning to trap me to death. No, this beast is about to leave my divine stone range. I need to escape as soon as possible. After a moment of hesitation, Chendaling took out a pill and swallowed it. This was the spirit burst pill left by his grandmaster, which could be used at the cost of 20 years of lifespan. In a short period of time, it could increase his cultivation base to the foundation establishment level. "Foundation establishment, break for me." Chendaling shouted loudly, his eyes bloodshot, his white hair waving without wind, and blood-colored light burning all over his body. He slowly walked out of the pile of rocks. His aura at this time had clearly exceeded the late-stage chi refinement realm, reaching the 7th level of the foundation establishment realm. "Beast, you made me use my secret technique and lost 20 years of my lifespan. I collected your demon energy. You can't escape. I, Chendaling, will definitely skin you and pull out your tendons today." He rushed out in a rage in a certain direction, and the powerful aura vortex allowed him to fly into the air. Riding the wind, his speed was actually 5 times faster than before. At this time, I was running towards the river with all my strength and had already arrived at the riverbank. When the distance between the two sides reached within 100 meters, Chendaling grabbed the air, and instantly I felt as if I was being crushed by thousands of giant rocks, my bones cracking and unable to move. This is gravity technique. It has such power in the hands of a foundation establishment cultivator. Seeing that I couldn't move, Chendaling sneered and walked forward. "You just wait for me to capture you. You killed my disciple. Today you must die." Just as he finished speaking, a golden light suddenly flung out from my tail. Chendaling revealed a leak of his expression, raised his hand and cast gravity technique to intercept the hidden weapon. However, the hidden weapon was not affected and instantly shot in front of him. Its speed was extremely fast. Chendaling sidestepped in shock. and the protective chi of the 7th level of Foundation establishment was scratched out with a large hole. What kind of hidden weapon is this that can break my protective chi? While he was stunned, I instinctively plunged into the river, then swam frantically downstream. He has cultivated for over 100 years and certainly knows water escape techniques. I can't hide in the water forever. I need to get ashore. But where can I hide? My mind raced with thoughts. Before I knew it, I had traveled a kilometer. A place involuntarily popped into my head. That's right, the mountain god temple in Snake Village. That's my lucky place, blessed by the mountain god. Time quickly moved to evening. Qin Daolin followed the compass's guidance and chased after the mountain god temple outside. Staring at the dilapidated temple, he cautiously didn't rush in. This fiend is full of tricks. Why would he choose such a dead end to hide? Could it be a trap? Fiend, I know you're hiding inside. Come out and die. Naturally, I wouldn't go out. I could only hope the mountain god would show some power and delay him for a moment. Once I recovered some true chi, if it really came to it, I'd fight him with the 8 light elves. Outside, Qin Daolin gnashed his teeth in anger. He took out a light red talisman and threw it into the mountain god temple. Fine, if you won't come out, then I'll destroy this temple. The talisman exploded in a burst of flames, and the entire mountain god temple instantly collapsed into nothingness. Everything within 50 zhang was reduced to ashes. However, after the statue of the mountain god exploded, a black light shot out, its speed unbelievably fast. Bold. Who dares destroy my statue? The voice was like a thunderclap. Qin Daolin's face drained of color, and a trace of blood leaked from his mouth. His previous anger had vanished in the face of mortal danger, replaced only by fear. Although he didn't know what it was, he sensed a trace of soul power, highly likely the old monster primordial spirit, recorded in ancient texts. Qin Daolin's legs trembled as he wanted to run, but he didn't think he had any chance of escaping. Just then, his apprentice Muley, who had recovered somewhat, ran quickly from afar. Master, I'm here to help you. Seeing this, Qin Daolin's face lit up with joy. Good apprentice, you've come at the right time. He immediately used a gravity spell to control the bewildered Muley, throwing him directly at the old monster's primordial spirit. I'm sorry, it's for the sake of the corpse party. Leaving those words behind, Qin Daolin took off running, using his life-saving divine form talisman, instantly increasing his speed by more than 5 times. The old monster sneered and released a soul attack. Courting death, dare appear before me again, and I'll scatter your soul and spirit, never to be reincarnated. While fleeing, Qin Daolin felt a sharp pain in his chest. His bones, organs, and skin felt as if they had been struck by a heavy hammer, trembling nonstop. To be injured even after escaping so far? Fine, 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 you just wait. After uttering this harsh threat in his heart, he jumped headfirst into the depths of the forest without looking back. The old monster's primordial spirit didn't chase. Instead, it made a squelching sound and transformed into a black shadow, burrowing into Muley's body. This physical body isn't bad. A moment later, seeing that there was no movement outside, I crawled out of the ruins of the mountain god temple. Phew, that was close. I bet right. This mountain god is truly miraculous. I've never gambled like this in my life. This was the most dangerous time. Before I could completely relax, the deceased Muley suddenly stood up from the ground. Exploding corpse. My mind buzzed. I immediately thought of the resurrected Qin Fan, and the fear inside me exploded. You can't explode the corpse. I'll crush your bones and scatter your ashes. See how you'll explode the corpse then. I screamed and spewed out a large amount of fire, burning Muley. After charring him, I used my right-wing tail to whip him into pieces. This should be fine now. I finally relaxed, taking a charred rib and lighting it. Gratefully, I kowtowed 3 times to the ruined mountain god temple. Thank you, mountain god. Thank you, mountain god, for protecting me. I'll come and worship you every year from now on. After worshipping, I was about to leave when a burst of angry roars suddenly came out. Worship my ass. You little bastard, is your head full of slag? The voice was like a thunderclap, leaving me stunned. Mountain god, are you speaking? I reacted and looked around left and right in panic and excitement. The voice seemed extremely angry. Panting for a long time before continuing, bastard. You ruined my plans, do you know that? I give you 1 incense stick's worth of time to find me a physical body. Otherwise, I curse you to never be reincarnated. Yes, mountain god, rest assured, I, Suhei, will guarantee you're satisfied. Although I didn't know why he wanted me to find him a physical body, I dared not disobey the mountain god's order. With extreme speed, I darted away and disappeared without a trace. After I left, the old monster's furious emotions gradually calmed down. My primordial spirit is dissipating too quickly. I need to find a physical body to make do for now. Otherwise, I fear my soul will be scattered. While he was searching, he submerged his primordial spirit into a rat. I, the dignified heavenly devil Scatter, have lived for hundreds of years and have never seen such a troublesome bastard. Damn it, why did I enlighten so many things in the first place? 100 years ago, I was hunted down by several major sects until only my primordial spirit remained. Fortunately, I escaped into this mountain god temple, sealing my primordial spirit and relying on the power of faith to survive to this day. Not long ago, I finally accumulated divine power and could possess someone. It just so happened that a single cultivator dowser came, and it was a good opportunity to possess him. Strange, swallowing 2 people this time led to my possession failing, but that CK was enlightened because he swallowed a trace of my primordial spirit power. Later, the Chiu family came, and I wanted to possess someone again, but this time I was smashed to bits, along with a trace of my primordial spirit's corpse, which was swallowed by a stray dog. That stray dog was also enlightened because of it. Originally, I wanted to be cautious this time when I saw that old Taoist coming, and wait for him to get closer before I acted to possess him, but the old Taoist directly blew up my statue in the distance. The physical body I had waited so long for was turned to ashes by that bastard. It's all this bastard's fault. Just you wait. When this seed obtains a good physical body, I will definitely make that bastard look good. I wonder where this bastard plans to find me a physical body. I'm really looking forward to it. It's best to grab a few living strong men from the village for this seat to choose from. While the old monster was waiting angrily, I had already rushed to the graveyard outside Shin family town. My spiritual sense scattered, searching for corpses in each tomb. Unfortunately, all the corpses had turned into skeletons. Physical bodies like this were obviously unqualified. At the very least, they had to be freshly buried. There were also some graves with signs of being dug open. The corpses inside were gone, clearly stolen by some kind of creature. My spiritual sense continued to search, and sure enough, I found a tailless black dog running wildly. The black dog's eyes had turned a starry red, extremely sinister. Dense black energy rose from its head, clearly having eaten many corpses and being entangled in resentment. It's stealing corpses? Damn, it's so fierce. Heavy murderous intent. Evidence of corpse eating, no mistake. Young, handsome, muscular, suave, and handsome, virtually perfect. The black dog seemed to smell a dangerous scent. It looked up and saw a black snake slowly crawling over. A snake demon? Could it be here to steal the meat? Starving. Its eyes are staring straight at this side. Wait a minute, something's not right. Why do I feel like it's not staring at the meat? It's staring at me. That's right, it's staring at me. The black dogs first stood on end, realizing the danger. It immediately fled into the distance, shouting human cries. Murder! Murder! Help! A snake is going to kill someone. Damn, this dog actually has intelligence. Not only is it young, strong, handsome, and suave, but it's also an enlightened demon beast. There's no more perfect physical body in the world than you. The more I looked, the more satisfied I became. I released a beast controlling ring and directly put it around its neck. The black dog screamed and struggled constantly, but everything was futile in the face of a high-grade magic treasure. Spare me, I beg snake sir, let me go. Shut up. It's the mountain god who wants to see you. It's a good thing. As I spoke, I grabbed the black dog and started moving, happily hurrying toward the mountain god temple. With the time limit approaching, the heavenly devil Scatter was anxiously pacing in place. Time is running out. This rat's body is already showing signs of collapsing. I have to possess a new physical body quickly. What if that bastard doesn't come back? He had just thought of this when he heard my excited voice. Mountain god, I found the perfect physical body for you. Look, young and strong, suave and handsome, definitely suitable for your needs. How about it? Perfect, right? The heavenly devil Scatter took a closer look and his heart almost collapsed. This is the physical body you found? A dog. What the hell are you joking about? You want me to possess a dog? Suhei, why don't you go die? Go die. He had already underestimated my intelligence as much as possible, trying to request as little as possible, but he still overestimated it, forgetting to add the limiting condition, human. Hearing his angry roar, I was immediately bewildered. Mountain god, what did I do wrong? I followed your requests. The heavenly devil Scatter was speechless. At this point, he was already furious to the extreme. There's no time. Fine, rather than possessing a tailless dog, I'd rather choose your blockhead body. Give me your body. He roared and turned into black mist, wanting to possess my body. Naturally, I wouldn't sit still and wait for death, frantically using my spiritual sense to resist his will. After several attempts, the heavenly devil Scatter helplessly discovered that my spiritual sense was exceptionally strong. Each time he invaded, he would be expelled and stripped away. At this point, he was silent for a moment and looked at the big black dog. The more he looked, the more surprised he became. What's going on? This familiar aura is the fiendish devil body, similar to my original physique. Could this be a coincidence? After hesitating for a long time, he sighed. A dog is fine. It's still better than having my soul scatter. At worst, I can wait until my cultivation is restored and find a human to possess again. The heavenly devil Scatter's primordial spirit immediately fused with the dog's body. This time, the process was surprisingly smooth and they quickly merged into one. Looking through the dog's memories, it turned out that after stealing and eating those few sacrificial offerings, it had continued to rob tombs and steal corpses, which was why it had developed this kind of physique. In this way, it's not a bad physical body after all. This beast's controlling ring is that stupid snake's. How could something like this trap me? After removing the ring from his neck, the heavenly devil Scatter looked straight at me, who was trying to slip away. Stop. Since you helped me find this pretty good physical body, I've decided to take you as my disciple. Seeing me freeze in place, he added, it's your honor to be the heavenly devil Scatter's disciple. Hurry up and come over to apprentice. Hearing this, I finally reacted. Heavenly what devil? Aren't you the mountain god? Hearing this, he sneered. When did I say I was the mountain god? I was just using the mountain god statue as a tool for offering sacrifices. You were the one who was wishful thinking. It's none of my business. At this point, I only felt a surge of anger exploding in my chest. I had been tricked. I even offered sacrifices and kowtowed to the statue, praying that it would bless my cultivation. And what happened? There was no mountain god at all, but a cultivator who came from who knows where. It's really hateful. You're impersonating a god. Aren't you afraid of retribution and going to hell after you die? The big black dog seemed to hear an extremely funny joke and actually made dog-like laughter. Aha, retribution. Going to hell is a foolish self-comforting delusion. Why would you have such a thought? Looking at this black dog, digging graves and stealing corpses, not believing in gods or spirits, this is what my memory is all about. I didn't want to pay attention to him. Without another word, I turned and crawled away. Seeing me walking away, the big black dog thought for a moment, a sneer rising at the corners of his mouth, and followed. My speed increased, and the big black dog followed, increasing his speed. I used the earth escape technique, but this dog thing used it better than. The two of us were always right behind the other. How could I get rid of him? A day later, I returned to the vicinity of my territory, watching the black dog with both helplessness and anger. This is my territory, the big black dog grinned. What? Can't the teacher come to your territory? This pool of water in front of us should lead to the underground cave, right? That's your nest, right? As soon as he finished speaking, the wolf king ran over from afar, carrying a salt sheep in his mouth. Good job. I'm hungry too. After praising him, I slowly swallowed the sheep into my stomach. The big black dog watched quietly the entire time, not saying a word, until I had digested it. Then he coldly spoke. I am half of your teacher. Aren't you going to respect me? Hearing this, I grinned. Wolves eat meat, dogs eat shit. Wolf King, give him some shit to eat. Hearing this, the Wolf King immediately happily ran over, bent his ass, and was about to poop on the big black dog. The big black dog's head was smoking with anger. He lunged and bit the Wolf King. You bastard, I'll bite you to death. The Wolf King screamed and ran away, his legs trembling as he hid behind me. It's been a long time since anyone has dared to humiliate me like this. Disciple, do you know the consequences of disrespecting your teacher? I calmly answered, I didn't disrespect you. Dogs are supposed to eat shit. The black dog coldly laughed. So you admit that you are my disciple. My face changed and I quickly denied. I didn't. I have some kindness to you. You have kowtowed and performed the apprenticeship ceremony. It's no use if you don't admit it. I am your master. The big black dog was very proud. I was a little anxious. Although I really didn't want to admit it, going around and around, what the other party said seemed to make some sense. Bullshit. I won't be fooled. After screaming, I turned and jumped into the pool to escape. The big black dog laughed more and more gleefully, slowly following along. Inside the nest, the snake fruit tree had taken root and began to grow steadily. After this period of cultivation, the white snake vaguely showed signs of turning into a demon and had also learned to swallow and spit. I took out Mulay's storage bag, just about to check it when the black dog came over. "Why are you so close? Go away." Seeing my vigilant appearance, the black dog sneered. "Hey, you treat a little garbage like a treasure? I wouldn't even want it if you gave it to me." I glanced at him and didn't say anything, putting the things from the storage bag out. Mulay had much more treasures than Muyun, piled all over the ground. 8 bottles of pills, a thunderhawk, several talismans, a lot of medicinal materials, a small alchemy furnace, and many spellcasting talismans. In addition, there was a palm-sized stone, emitting a weak milky white luster, with faint spiritual energy fluctuations. A spirit stone. The big black dog's eyes lit up, and he was about to use his dog paws to grab it. "What a cunning dog thing. Didn't you say you didn't want it even if I gave it to you? So you were going to steal it?" I quickly wrapped my tail around it and put the spirit stone into the storage bag. The big black dog turned around in embarrassment and left. "I was just curious and took a look, that's all. It's not like I wanted." I looked at his retreating figure speechlessly. His tail was wagging so hard. He obviously wanted it. Days passed, and my life remained peaceful. Besides practicing magic, I would catch a few prey for a little snack. Gravity manipulation is what I've been focusing on lately. After repeated practice, I've mastered it to a small degree, able to use it from 5 meters away. In the last fight, that old man's gravity manipulation could attack me from 100 yards away. I must practice until I reach that level too. One day, I was devouring a wild boar when Big Black Dog suddenly appeared beside me, sarcastically saying, "Apprentice, you eat this kind of thing every day. When will you ever break through?" Even dogs would shake their heads at this garbage. Hearing this, I said angrily, "Then what do you say I should eat?" Big Black Dog replied with a sneer, "Obviously, top-grade demon beasts and top-grade spiritual herbs." Easy to say. Where are there any demon beasts around here? Only the Wolf King is left, and eating him wouldn't improve me much. Better to save him for later. Hearing this, Big Black Dog smiled and opened a storage ring. "That's your problem. You can't find good stuff being such a homebody. Let me show you the storage ring I got last night and today's lunch." With a flash of white light, a colorful and intelligent 7-tailed spirit fowl appeared on the ground. This thing is called a spirit tail hen. It's a spiritual bird raised by a nearby sect specifically for consumption. It's much tastier than wild beasts. I happened to pass by and swiped a couple. My expression immediately turned astonished. I immediately used Earth Escape to hide underground and vigilantly scanned the surroundings with divine sense. Are you crazy? Won't we be followed? Don't worry, I did it cleanly. No one under heaven can track my demonic master. Anyway, no one's following. You can relax. The old dog said with considerable pride, while beginning to quickly pluck the spirit tail hen with his paw-turned hand. In a short while, only a bald hen remained. Then, with a wave of his paw, a pile of charcoal appeared on the ground. Right in front of me, he set up a grill and started roasting. The charcoal heated up, and the spirit tail hen sizzled and dripped oil. Its aroma filled the air, and spiritual energy permeated everywhere. After doing all this, he looked at me with a smile. "Apprentice, I see you're drooling. Want to eat some? Easy, just exchange it for snacks." "Want snacks? Impossible. Even if I, Suhei, starve to death, I won't eat your roasted chicken." I stared longingly, drool constantly flowing from the corner of my mouth. "Apprentice, so virtuous. Then just watch me eat," Big Black Dog said, tearing off a chicken leg and starting to eat it with relish, making crunching sounds as he did so. "Haha, this chicken is so fragrant. The juice even splashed into my eyes. Oops, I accidentally ate it down to the bone. Take the chicken bones and eat them. Don't be shy." The Wolf King first glanced at me, and seeing that I didn't react, he lunged forward, snatched the bones, crushed them, and swallowed them. I turned my head away, not wanting to see it. "Pa, I don't want it anyway." Seeing this, Big Black Dog took out a chicken leg and put it in front of me. "This fat chicken leg is really tempting. Zazie, apprentice, you really don't want to eat it." I couldn't stand it anymore and shot out a fireball. Big Black Dog quickly dodged. He wasn't angry and said with a dark smile, "Don't be angry, I'm your master. How would I cheat you? You should know that if the spirit tail hen were sold, it could be sold for at least 3 snacks. You're getting a great deal. Then why don't you sell it? Do you think I'm stupid? Hearing this, Big Black Dog frowned. I'm looking like a dog, so it's not convenient. As for whether I'm tricking you, apprentice, take a look back. The Wolf King broke through the 3rd level. He only ate a little bone scrap and already broke through. That's the power of the spirit tail hen. Seeing this, I couldn't resist any longer and had to agree. All right, one hand gives the money, the other gives the goods, I said, and took out the snack and tossed it to Big Black Dog. Big Black Dog didn't say anything and threw the entire spirit tail hen over. I looked at the spirit tail hen in front of me, sniffed it hard, and swallowed it in one gulp. The spirit tail hen wasn't too big, so it was more than enough to swallow, but the digestion speed was much slower than those beasts. I fully activated the demon god peak, only to see a thin line of blood energy absorbed from the spirit tail hen, pouring into the peak. The spiritual liquid droplets in the peak were increasing at a visible rate. Before long, it filled the demon god peak. I was already at the 7th level peak of spirit connection, and now, the spirit tail hen's essence pushed me from City of Watermelons to the 5th level of spirit connection. This spirit tail hen really deserves to be a late-stage spirit connection demon beast, having just refined a piece of it I had already broken through. The rest should be enough for me to refine for a few more days. Time passed quickly, and 3 days later, the spirit tail hen was completely digested. Not only had my cultivation reached the peak of the 5th level of spirit connection, but I also gained more essence. This old dog really didn't deceive me. The money was spent too worthily. Big Black Dog smiled and came to my side. Apprentice, how was the effect of the spirit tail hen? I nodded honestly and replied, it's all right. Then let's join forces and grab a few more, and split the profits 50/50ths. I guarantee you'll break through to the late stage of spirit connection within a month, and to the great perfection of spirit connection within a year. Hearing this, my eyes widened and I shook my head repeatedly. No way. That's a late-stage spirit connection demon beast. Too dangerous. You can go yourself. A month to late stage, a year to great perfection. Such cultivation speed would likely entice any person or demon beast, but I would never fall for it. There's no such thing as a free lunch. Big Black Dog snorted with disdain. This spirit tail hen deserves to be called a demon beast? Having been raised by humans, it's long lost its fighting power. It's not even as good as a mid-stage demon beast. I can grab 2 with one hand. If you don't go, then I'll go by myself. If I'm chased by humans, I'll run to you. Hearing this, my face turned black, and my anger caused the veins on my forehead to bulge as I cursed. I've never seen such a shameless dog as you. Big Black Dog laughed triumphantly. Haha, don't worry, follow your teacher, and I'll guarantee you eat and drink well. I can sense danger immediately. I was completely speechless. This old dog was stubborn. If I didn't agree, he would pester me relentlessly, trying every possible way to create a ruckus. But I couldn't do anything about him. All right, but you're not allowed to call me apprentice. I have my own name. I'm called Suhei. Hearing this, the old dog's eyes lit up. Suhei, not bad. Apprentice, you even gave yourself a name, even though the name is bad. Hearing this, I immediately retorted, that's better than your loose immortal or whatever. The old dog immediately corrected me. I'm the world-renowned demonic master loose immortal, okay? Forget it. It's no use explaining to a blockhead like you. Anyway, before I recover my strength, this name isn't good to publicize, so I might as well temporarily take another one. Since I'm black, then I'll call myself Black Emperor for now. Okay, Black Emperor. Doesn't Big Black sound better? I chuckled, and the old dog got angry, correcting me again. It's the Emperor of Emperors. Big Black sounds like a dog name. Aren't you a dog? All right, shut up. If you don't want to be called Black Emperor, how about Black Yellow? Okay, Black Yellow. After that, we walked and talked, and finally arrived near the Carefree sect after a day. Along the way, the old dog explained some common knowledge and experiences to me. Suhei, do you know how many immortal cultivation sects there are within the territory of Chu? I replied, I only know about the snake-catching sect. Could it be that there are other sects that catch snakes? The old dog chuckled. It's normal for a snake demon to only know about the snake-catching sect. Listen carefully. Chu has 5 major sects in the east, south, west, north, and center. Northern Ice Snow, Western Kunlun, Eastern Palai, Southern Snake Catching, and as for the center, it's the Imperial Sky Sword of the Imperial Court. All sects, large and small, in the country, are under the jurisdiction of these 5 major sects. The snake-catching sect used to be called the dragon-subduing sect, But the sect declined later and was afraid that a too-grand name would attract trouble, so they changed its name. I asked curiously, what level is the Carefree sect we're going to now? The old dog replied, the Carefree sect is a third-rate small sect, under the jurisdiction of the snake-catching sect. There are only 5 pigs chickens here. Hearing that there were 5 pigs chickens, I immediately panicked and instinctively turned to run away. I'm not going. I won't go even if you beat me to death. 5 pigs chickens. Aren't you trying to kill me, a snake? The old dog bit my tail. What are you afraid of? Have some backbone. Come here. See the slope ahead? There's only one elder in this giant peak, and he's raising those chickens. There are hundreds of them. Hearing this, my eyes lit up. Go. Let's get a closer look. Damn, there really are hundreds of them. I used my divine sense to sense it, and found that there was a faint energy shield on the edge of the giant peak, preventing divine sense from searching. The old dog smiled darkly, took out some unknown green powder, and sprinkled it on the energy shield. This is an array shield, preventing outsiders from entering, but it can't stop me. Watch carefully, this is array melting powder, specially for breaking shields. In an instant, the light shield melted at a visible speed, creating a large hole centered on the green powder, reaching 10 zhang in width. Then, the old dog took out a handful of spirit bugs and placed them at the opening. These spirit bugs have a fatal attraction to spirit tail hens. Listen to my order later, and let's work together. Grab as many as we can, and run. Before long, a chicken noticed the spirit bugs and immediately ran over. The rest of the chickens also followed. All swarming over, there were over a dozen of them. They're coming, they're coming. Get ready to attack. Hearing the old dog shout, my thoughts moved. And a false illusion ring burst out of the ground, flying towards the spirit tail hens. It quickly enlarged mid-air, forcefully controlling and pulling 3 spirit tail hens together. At the same time, the old dog also drilled out of the ground, opened his mouth wide and bit onto a chicken. His paws grabbed 2 chickens on the left and right respectively. Done. Retreat quickly. The old dog had just opened his mouth to remind, but found that I had already run. However, just as he wanted to use Earth Escape to retreat, an angry roar suddenly came from the sky, exploding in his ears like a thunderclap. So it's you beast, who's been stealing chickens. No wonder I'm missing 2 chickens. The old dog hastily activated Earth Escape, desperately hiding underground. The old black dog didn't have such good luck. He only used half of Earth Escape, and found that the soil had become rigid and turned into a stone slab. Under such hardness, Earth Escape could not pass at all. Seeing this, he hurriedly put the 3 spirit tail hens into the storage ring, then stood up on 2 legs and ran, running like a human, his speed incredibly fast. The white-bearded Taoist in the sky was completely stunned by this scene. Was this thing a dog or a person? It didn't seem like an ordinary dog demon at all. Stop, you despicable beast. Stop right there. I'm going to eat dog meat today. The white-bearded Taoist's face turned pale, and after swallowing a pill, his speed suddenly increased, transforming into a long rainbow and chasing after the old dog. Old dog, may you have good fortune. I had to find a place to refine things first, ignoring the life and death of the old dog. I circled around and hid in an uninhabited natural cave. This place is good, it's hidden enough. Let's refine the chickens first before going home, to avoid any problems. I have a feeling that with these chickens and the pills I captured earlier, I should be able to easily break through the 6th level and reach the peak of the 6th level in one fell swoop. Sure enough, the greater the risk, the greater the reward. I still admit this point. Afterwards, I learned to roast chickens from the old dog, but found that the old dog's roasting technique wasn't as easy as it looked. Not only was the chicken not cooked, but half of it was burnt. Just then, there was movement at the entrance of the cave. Turning my head, I saw the old black dog walking and panting and cursing. Damn it. To divert that old man, I was forced to abandon 3 spirit tail hens. All that work for nothing. It's infuriating. Hearing this, I hesitated for a moment and took out a spirit tail hen and handed it over. It was the old black dog's turn to be surprised. He looked at me with a surprised expression. What are you doing? He was not polite and smiled darkly, indicating that he was very satisfied. You really don't act like a disciple I taught at all. All right, I'll just take your burnt one. This one can still be saved. I'll teach you again later, watch carefully. Saying that, he asked me to prepare some vegetables, then poured the 3 chickens and natural treasures into the pot. Chickens, can not only be roasted, but also stewed in soup, and adding natural treasures is definitely great for supplementing strength. After the chicken was stewed, I picked up two and swallowed them directly, then began to break through while sitting in place. The old dog licked his lips and smiled inwardly. This silly apprentice. I already ate those 3 chickens. He's still stupidly sharing one with me. So naive. During my refining process, the spiritual liquid droplets in the demon god peak quickly reached a state of 10 perfection and began to break through to a higher level. However, this time, I was never able to cross that barrier. I put all my strength into it and repeatedly tried to force through the spiritual power, but it was always lacking and failed to compress again and again. Could it be that 2 chickens were not enough? After watching for a long time, the old dog sighed. Forget it. I'll give you a hand. He then slapped the bottom of the pot, and the medicinal residue in the pot immediately flew up, ignited in midair, and turned into a medicinal liquid that gradually merged. After a long time, a round pill was completed under the control of the old dog. He picked up the pill and directly stuffed it into my mouth and explained, "This is a meridian opening pill. Eat it and try again." With the meridian opening pill entering my body, I began to try again. This time, unexpectedly, I successfully broke through to the peak of the 7th level of spirit connection. Afterwards, I took 2 more bottles of spiritual energy pills and spent a week to improve my cultivation to the peak of the 7th level of spirit connection. These 2 breakthroughs only took less than half a month in total, which was much faster than before. The old black dog laughed. Haha. I said, "As long as you work with me, I guarantee you'll reach the late stage in a month. Didn't I lie to you?" I nodded and replied, "You're right. This time it was all thanks to you, but I'll never go there again to steal chickens." The old black dog said slyly, "Don't worry, I'm not stupid. I can't just keep going to one place. Let's change it next time." I hesitated for a moment and told him, "Actually, there's no need to rush for a month. I want to solidify my realm a little before trying to break through. It's fine if it takes half a year or a year." While my cultivation level has been progressing rapidly, the improvement in my physical strength has been very limited. I haven't even shed skin like before, and I've only gained 1 additional spirit scale. Humans mainly cultivate true chi, while demons and beasts mainly cultivate physical bodies. I can't put the cart before the horse and blindly pursue speed. I was interrupted. While we returned near the territory, but looking into the distance, we found that thick smoke was rising into the air, and the heat wave dyed the sky black. A raging mountain fire covered the entire mountain forest, spreading towards the depths of the forest at an incredible speed. Most of the vegetation had been burned, and the scene was like hell everywhere. Damn it, this is definitely not an ordinary mountain fire. Who did this? My muscles tensed, and I rushed forward at an unprecedented speed. The sturdy old black dog was stunned for a moment and quickly advised, "Are you looking for death? It's just a mountain fire. What's the big deal? Calm down." I can't calm down. This is my home. I roared with a heavy heart and continued to rush towards the territory. At the same time, 30 miles away, Chin Dowling stood at the foot of the mountain and sneered, looking at the mountain fire in front of him, and said, "This mountain fire should burn for a full 7 days. It should burn to the snake demon's lair, right? Master gave the original instructions, and there are 3 years left. My only grievance in this life is to skin the snake demon, draw out its tendons, and refine it into a snake egg." Zhao Wenjuo replied after a moment of silence, "Master will definitely get his wish." Chin Dowling nodded and continued, "Disciple, now you are my only thought in this world. Besides revenge, there is a more important reason. The matter of 10,000 Snake Valley has attracted the interest of an elder from headquarters. The snake-catching sect is about to establish a branch here. At that time, you can enter the branch to cultivate." Hearing this, Zhao Wenjuo's heart was shaken. The snake-catching sect is one of the 5 major sects in Chu, a southern overlord. Any branch is a powerful force with gened and cultivators stationed there. The establishment of the branch means that the level of cultivation in this area will rise sharply. Whether it is Snake Village, Mang Village, or Chen Family Town, will receive endless benefits. There may even be a large number of people moving here to build a new city, and the population and economy will flourish. Master, I wonder which elder from the sect came to investigate this time? Chin Dowling smiled and said a name, Jin Din Chi Min. After discovering that my territory had been set on fire, I sped up and returned to the cave, and the Wolf King saw me coming and immediately stepped forward and lowered his head, making a woofing sound. I didn't have time to say anything, rolled up the snake fruit tree and put it into my storage bag, and then rushed out with the white snake and the Wolf King. A raging fire swept through the deep mountains and old forests, and thick smoke filled the air. The air was filled with dust, and there was a pungent smell everywhere. I spat out a water ball to extinguish the flames in front and created a wide island. All I saw along the way was black and scorched earth. Conservatively estimated, it burned at least 20 miles horizontally and vertically, maybe even more. Without strong winds and heavy rain, it will keep burning. The old black dog sighed and comforted. The weather is hot, and mountain fires happen from time to time. Don't take this accident to heart. I was silent for a long time and guessed, the scale of this fire is definitely not an accident. I heard you talk about the snake-catching sect before. They have many branches, mostly opened in places with abundant spiritual energy and rich snake resources, right? The old black dog nodded in response. That's right. Hearing this, my eyes were red with hatred, bursting out with unprecedented murderous intent. There is a place called 10,000 Snake Valley deep in the mountains. Every spring, hundreds of thousands of snakes pass by. The one who set the fire must be from the snake-catching sect. They set the fire to clear land and establish a branch of the sect. That's how all human cities are built. I'm going to kill this group of bastards. Seeing me getting more and more excited, the old black dog quickly stopped me and advised, there must be foundation establishment or even gene and stage cultivators stationed at the snake-catching sect's branch. Don't be stupid at this time. We have plenty of time to cultivate. I took a deep breath and nodded heavily in response. I know. I'm not stupid. There seems to be something ahead. The old black dog heard what I said and sensed with his spiritual sense. Sure enough, he found a middle-aged scholar in white, treading in the air, his eyes like lightning, scanning the scorched earth below. He also held a jade slip in his hand, recording all the terrain he saw into the jade slip. This person is Xianxia, the core elder of the snake-catching sect, who has a strong interest in this place. The plan to establish a branch was also advocated by him. The terrain is still being surveyed, and his main body is not cleared out. He just sent a clone. The old black dog reminded with a dark expression, 30 miles ahead. If I had heard this before, I would definitely have hidden without hesitation. But now my heart is full of murderous intent, and I'm in a bad mood. What cultivation level? Do you know? Hearing my question, the old black dog replied without thinking, gened in 7. Hearing this, I turned around without saying a word and used the earth escape technique to hide underground. The old black dog raised his eyebrows and said, Look at you, you're such a coward. Before I could finish speaking, he's just a clone, not the main body. Why didn't you say so earlier? I immediately cursed and came back, asking what the strength of this clone was. The old black dog replied nonchalantly, I don't know. Clones are divided into several levels. The strongest is the external avatar, which has at least a pseudo-core realm. The weakest is the humanoid clone. It's just like a chi refining 7. Just as he said this, the cultivator seemed to have noticed our existence. He moved quickly and began to approach this side. Seeing this, the old black dog immediately took out a concealment talisman and stuck it on his forehead. Don't panic, my concealment talisman, even the great Luo Golden Immortal won't be able to detect it. Immediately, the two of us became transparent and blended into the natural environment. The figure of the middle-aged scholar in the sky swept past, but just as he passed over our heads, he seemed to sense something. Suddenly stopped. I can only give your concealment technique 2 points. Don't hide, come out. Saying that, he raised his hand and slashed at a huge rock in front. The huge rock was immediately split in two, collapsed, and turned into dust. I was confused, not knowing what the other party was doing. The old black dog smiled darkly and explained, Don't panic, this person just sensed some aura, but doesn't know where it is, so he can only bluff. After hearing this, I stared at him and asked, Didn't you just say that even the great Luo Golden Immortal can't sense it? Black Huang replied awkwardly, Great Luo Golden Immortal is the name of my pet. Hearing this, I was speechless. At this time, that Xianxia was also touching his chin and fell into self-doubt. No? Is it an illusion? Or is the quality of my clone not up to par and can't detect it? After observing again and still finding nothing, Xianxia couldn't help but shake his head. Forget it, important matters come first. 10,000 Snake Valley is ahead. Let's go see how many points it can get. Watching his figure fly away, Black Huang licked his lips, his eyes flashing with a hint of greed. Suhei, why don't we do something big? Did you see the pet belt around the clone's waist? Why don't we? Before he could finish speaking, I interrupted him. Stop. You go if you want to. I don't want to die. That's a gene in 7. This old dog is too bold. I can't even deal with the main body, and he wants to attack a Jin in 7. Where does he get the courage? Black Huang smiled darkly and kept persuading. Listen to me. That clone can't even break the concealment talisman. It's just a straight tiger with a pillar of incense at most, and its resistance can't be too strong. Trust me, I have more than 50% certainty of killing him. We'll split the spoils 50/50ths. That's a Jin and 7 cultivators clone's pet belt. I don't know how many snacks there are in it. I don't know how many spirit beasts I can buy. Hearing this, I remained unmoved, shaking my head like a rattle. Killing the clone will only anger the main body. I don't want to be remembered by a Jin and 7 cultivator. You go if you want to. Black Huang pondered for a moment and said coldly, Suhei, don't you want to take revenge? Your home was burned. As soon as I heard this, I immediately fell silent. A layer of bloodshot gradually filled my eyes. Seeing the effect, Black Huang continued to fan the flames. Suhei, oh Suhei, they burned your raised wild boars, burned your raised sheep, burned your mountain, burned your chickens, ducks, and birds. Don't you hate them? Don't you want to take revenge? Do you want to be a homeless dog for the rest of your life? I'm just asking you if you want to take revenge. I pondered for a moment and replied, I want to take revenge. Then I took out a black spirit scale from my pet belt and placed it on the ground. But 50% certainty is too low. At this, how much certainty do we have? This is a black spirit scale that I usually pull off from the spirit beast. Once a spirit scale is removed, it will gradually lose its spirituality over time and become ordinary and no longer sharp. Only when it is freshly shed is it the strongest. But even so, its sharpness is still remarkable and is a rare weapon. Black Huang's eyes lit up and said excitedly, 70%? No, 80%. When the time comes, I'll find an opportunity to use a trick, and that will be over 90%. After discussing it, I asked the Wolf King and the White Snake to hide on the mountain next door, and then chased after the middle-aged cultivator. At this time, above 10,000 Snake Valley. Xianxia arrived and swept his spiritual sense across, quickly observing the entire 10,000 Snake Valley. A hint of excitement flashed in his eyes. 10 points. No, surpassing 10 points. This is simply a perfect snake farm. Every spring, it will attract all the snakes within 200 miles. What could be more exciting than this? He observed it over and over again, confirming it repeatedly, and recorded it in the jade slip. It's time to send the jade slip back. The main body will definitely be satisfied. Thinking of this, he suddenly snorted coldly and looked behind him. I thought it was an illusion. So someone was really following me. And they know how to draw formations, hiding their heads and showing their tails. Hurry, hurry, let the law be done. Retaliate. Retaliate. Didn't explode? Pretty fast. Where are you running? Xianxia raised his hand and grabbed, activating the gravity technique, and lifted the black dog that had been blasted out of the air. It's actually a rogue mutt. Where's your master? The old black dog did not answer Xianxia's question. He grinned and his body suddenly exploded. Xianxia's face changed and he immediately realized that he had stepped on an illusion formation. There might be an expert. I should send the slip first. His reaction was extremely decisive. He threw the jade slip into the sky. The jade slip rose into the air and flew towards the distant horizon at an incredible speed. The clone's mission was to survey the terrain and collect information, so it wouldn't matter if it died. You really thought that was an illusion? Suddenly, a cold voice came from his ear. Xianxia's eyes lit up. He saw that the black dog that had exploded into minced meat suddenly condensed and reformed into a complete black dog. The headless body suddenly moved, raised its arm and grabbed Black Huang's neck, lifting him up and holding him tightly. Black Huang's expression changed drastically as he looked at the head on the ground. He saw that the head was staring at him, and the corner of his mouth was raised in a sneer. I'm a wooden puppet clone. It doesn't matter if my head falls off. I'm not dead. I can only give your trick 6 points, barely passing. Just as the old black dog was about to suffocate, a few spirit scales suddenly flew out from the darkness and cut the body into countless pieces, turning it into broken wood and falling to the ground. I then appeared and directly spat out a mouthful of fire. Xianxia's smile came to an abrupt end, and his body shattered. So that's how it is. This rogue mutt was just bait. What secret technique did this snake use? I couldn't sense it at all. I give your teamwork 10 points. He only had time to think that much before the fireball tree incinerated him into nothingness, his spiritual consciousness completely dissipating into the heavens and earth. Black Yellow landed on the ground, panting heavily, and cursed, miscalculation. It was a wooden puppet clone. This thing isn't cheap. To use it to probe me is a waste of resources. I don't have time to bother with him. The fireball tree spat fireball after fireball onto the ground, melting the earth and creating lava, leaving nothing but ash. Black Yellow, strong and alert, warned, "Stop, stop, stop. He's already dead. If you keep spitting, you'll cremate us both." Wen Yin stopped, looking at him angrily. "You old dog tricked me. This is your 80% certainty. How could he be so easily defeated?" Black Yellow retorted, "You don't know anything. I paid a great price to weaken his power, using a formation that sealed divine stones. Otherwise, how could you have ambushed him? Besides, even if you didn't act, I could have easily handled it, okay?" I shook my head, swallowing the spirit pills I had shot out one by one, then looked at him suspiciously. "You just keep bragging." Black Yellow stubbornly pulled out a jade scroll and retorted, "Bragging? I even intercepted this transmission jade scroll, otherwise, we would be doomed if it were really sent back." Wen Yin burned the jade scroll directly to ash after reading it. It recorded everything they had seen along the way, including their encounter with us. If this were transmitted back, it would cause a great disaster. After burning the jade scroll, I asked worriedly, "Are we safe now?" Black Yellow shook his head. "Not yet. Although the message wasn't sent back, his true body is, after all, a Jiedan cultivator. Knowing his clone died here, he will definitely come to investigate in person." No sooner had Black Yellow finished speaking than he saw I had already run off into the distance. Seeing this, he was speechless. "Coward, don't run around like a headless fly. The influence of the Chu Kingdom's snake-catching sect is too widespread. We can only escape to a neighboring country for a while." At the same time, tens of thousands of miles away in the southern commandery of the Chu Kingdom, inside a sect cave dwelling, a middle-aged scholar who had been sitting cross-legged in meditation suddenly opened his eyes. A strange look flashed in his eyes. The wooden puppet clone is dead, and even the recording jade scroll was left behind. Who could have done this? Although the wooden puppet clone's strength is average, the aura fluctuations and spiritual consciousness it emits are extremely powerful. A genuine Jiedan stage cultivator would be able to see through the clone and dare to attack him. The opponent is either a brainless fool or possesses extremely strong cultivation and doesn't need him at all. Interesting. I'm becoming more and more interested in this 10,000 Snake Valley. Sube, take 5 inner disciples to investigate that 10,000 Snake Valley. Search for the person who attacked my clone. A black-robed youth received the order and immediately responded respectfully. Then, his figure flashed and disappeared from the spot. At this time, Black Yellow and I were quickly fleeing towards the border of the Qin Kingdom. After a long trek of hundreds of miles, I finally returned to the surface, almost collapsing from exhaustion. Black Yellow shook his head speechlessly. "There are still a few days until the border of the Qin Kingdom. You brought this on yourself. You could have run on the ground, but you insisted on using Earth evasion technique." I explained breathlessly, "I'm strengthening my physical body." The old dog used a divine stone to scan the surroundings and discovered a cave not far away, deciding to spend the night there. "Hey, kid, don't sleep on the ground. I really can't stand you." Black Yellow dragged me into the cave and went hunting. I always felt refreshed and full of energy after a sleep. This time, I used Earth evasion technique to travel hundreds of miles, and I felt my physical body was stronger than before. It was time to get down to business. I took out the wooden puppet clone storage bag to investigate, but as soon as the divine stone touched it, it was repelled. The Jiedan stage cultivator's divine stone brand on it couldn't be erased no matter what. After trying 3 times, I decided to try using the sprite to forcibly break it open. Black Yellow angrily cursed and quickly snatched it away. "Are you a pig? You'll scratch the treasures inside. Give it to me. Isn't it just a divine stone? I can easily solve it." I asked him worriedly if he wanted to secretly hide some. The old dog patted his chest and retorted with lofty righteousness, "Bullshit. Am I that kind of person? Give me 3 days, and I guarantee to open it for you." And so, time quickly passed, and 7 days later, after a long journey, we finally arrived at the border. Continuing forward, crossing a large river would lead to another country, the Qin Kingdom. The old dog took out his big pot and started cooking, deciding to camp here tonight and cross the river early tomorrow morning. I took advantage of this time to continue using Earth evasion technique to dive underground and train my physical body. Previously, I could only withstand 30 or so strikes. After several days of training, I could now withstand 90 strikes. If I continued to go deeper, I felt like my bones would be crushed, making it difficult to breathe and close to the limit. The scales on my tail finally started to increase again. As expected, the number of scales is related to my physical strength. The stronger the body, the more scales. After all, it is impossible for demonic beasts to only focus on leveling up quickly without practicing body refinement. When I returned to the ground, the old dog had already finished eating. He threw a storage bag at me and happily lay on the ground to rest. The spiritual consciousness on this storage bag is finally unlocked. It exhausted me. You open it later. I don't have the strength. Wen Yin smiled mockingly and quickly took it, looking inside. Hiki, you were bragging before, saying 3 days. I swept my spiritual consciousness into the storage bag, and my expression immediately became strange. Pills, spirit talismans, medicinal herbs, low-level magical items, spell techniques, and swords, all were ordinary things, not even a single spirit stone. How could this Jiedin stage cultivator's storage bag be inferior to Mulei's before? Black Yellow, aren't you coming to take a look? We agreed to split it in half. Hearing my words, the old dog waved his hand indifferently. These treasures are useless to me. They are all yours. As a master, how can I compete with my disciple for things? As soon as he finished speaking, I pounced on him. Old thing, hand over the things. The old dog screamed and argued. Spirit stones? What spirit stones? I didn't secretly pocket any. You're still saying you didn't secretly pocket them? I didn't even say it was spirit stones. Stop. Let's talk things out. Don't fight among ourselves. Let me go. A total of 10 spirit stones. I'll give you half. After a fierce struggle, Black Yellow still spat out 5 spirit stones. I had seen through this old dog. Damn, he's too greedy, even cheating his own people. Black Yellow tried to explain with earnest words and a heavy heart. Suhei, I'm doing this for your own good. What do you want so many spirit stones for? I'm helping you save them for when you need them at a critical moment in the future. I was too lazy to argue with him and took out the jade scrolls from the storage bag to read them several times. One of the jade scrolls recorded the method for refining the wooden puppet clone. Seeing I was engrossed in reading, the old dog leaned over, glanced at it, and mocked. This wooden puppet clone is just for scaring people. Its strength is unimpressive. I advise you not to learn it. With this effort, you might as well learn another clone technique. If you master it, it will be even more powerful than your true body. Hearing this, I immediately became interested and quickly asked, more powerful than my true body? What is it? The old dog's eyes lit up as he answered, puppets. Have you ever heard of puppetry, one of the 6 arts of cultivation? The Heavenly Puppet Sect, the #1 sect in the Qin Kingdom, is the expert in puppetry. It is said that the puppets inside are even more powerful than their masters. These puppets feel no pain, their physical bodies are comparable to demon beasts, and they can release 100 or 80 of them at once. Forget being invincible at the same realm. Even killing opponents above their level is not difficult. Hearing He Huang brag like this, a vivid picture immediately appeared in my mind. If I could really learn this skill, then when fighting with others, I could just unleash 100 or 80 puppets without a second thought. To gang up on them, wouldn't that be fantastic? He Huang slapped me when he saw me grinning like an idiot. What are you dreaming about? Go to sleep. We have to cross the river early tomorrow, right? The next morning, He Huang and I continued to walk 50 miles further. Gradually, clouds and mist appeared ahead. A vast river spanning north and south came into view. The Yanluo River's waters were turbulent, making it impossible for geese to cross. Even low-level cultivators could not fly across it. There were many deadly whirlpools in the river, making it difficult to swim across with water manipulation techniques. The only option was to take a ferry. The other side of the Yanluo River was the Qin Kingdom. He Huang took out a black robe and a bamboo hat, covering himself thoroughly, and walked upright to the dock. The boatman at the dock looked at him suspiciously. He Huang cleared his throat and said, I don't have any silver coins with me. This spirit stone should be more than enough, right? As soon as the boatman saw the spirit stone, he immediately realized that the other party was a cultivator. His expression became respectful, and he quickly invited He Huang onto the boat. He Huang stood proudly and stepped on board. When the crowd on the boat saw the dwarf he was disguised as, bursts of laughter erupted. Oh my! Where did this dwarf come from? This person is probably only 1 meter tall, haha. Maybe he'll be blown away by the wind on the river later. That probably won't happen. Look, although he's short, he's still fat enough. He Huang snorted coldly and waved his hand. With a whoosh, a gust of wind swept across, and the few bandits who had insulted He Huang were immediately blown off the ship by the wind. My God, he's an immortal. This pig is actually an immortal. The crowd on the boat all changed color. The unremarkable dwarf was actually a cultivator. This was no small matter, and no one dared to provoke him anymore. A boat full of stupid mortals dares to mock me? He Huang snorted and walked towards the cabin. But at this moment, a familiar voice came from his ear. Elder Zhou, our Qin Kingdom's young prince, is already on the boat. I trouble this lady to lead the way. Turning his head, he saw an old Taoist priest with a white beard being escorted onto the ferry by a woman. That old Taoist was none other than Zhou Su, the chicken of Xiaoao sect. Seeing him, I subconsciously wanted to run, but He Huang quickly held me down. Don't move. If we run now, wouldn't we be discovered? We're in disguise. As long as we don't move, we won't be recognized. At this moment, the old Taoist also noticed us. This person's aura is a bit familiar. Could it be an old acquaintance? Wait, fellow cultivator, have we met somewhere before? Hearing the old Taoist words, I panicked. It's over. It's over. He recognized me. Should I run? Should I run to the shore or into the water? Hey. Huang pretended to be calm and reassured me. Don't panic. Watch me. He then turned around and laughed loudly. Elder Zhou has a good memory. We only met once at that auction, but I didn't expect you to still remember. The old Taoist furrowed his brow and tried to recall, but he had attended so many auctions in recent years that he really couldn't remember the person in front of him. So he simply gave a perfunctory reply. Oh, it's you. I did see you at an auction 6 years ago, ha ha ha. At this time, a strong man walked over from the ship. Elder Zhou, the young prince has been waiting for a long time. You're invited to the second floor. The old Taoist nodded and followed the strong man to the second floor. After he left, I finally breathed a sigh of relief. I didn't expect this old dog to actually fool him with a series of smooth moves. Is that it? Have you guys really met before? He Huang smiled triumphantly and shook his head. People from sects have more or less been to auctions. There are so many people at the auction, it's impossible to remember everyone. But people find it very difficult to admit that their memory is bad, especially those old men. We finally escaped another disaster. Let's quickly go hide in the corner. Look at how cowardly you are. You're not cowardly? You're already pointing the spear at me. As evening approached, the ferry, as expected, arrived at Linjiang City, a city by the river. Linjiang City was located on the frontier of the Qin Kingdom. The emperor's reach was far away, and the order was chaotic and mixed. He Huang and I found a restaurant and went inside. He Huang shouted at the waiter, I want a top-notch private room. Bring me all the most expensive dishes and wine, especially demon beast meat. Bring more. The waiter sized up He Huang and quickly went to make arrangements. Soon, He Huang was led into a private room. Plates of delicious food were served. After dismissing the waiter, I couldn't wait to climb out and devour the food. He Huang picked up a wine jar and took a big gulp, then spat it out. What garbage wine! Even a dog wouldn't drink it. I could tell at a glance that the wine was mixed with some kind of drug. It should be some kind of sleeping potion. He Huang chuckled. You actually know about sleeping potions? Not bad. But your eyesight isn't good enough. It's not just in the wine, it's in the dishes too. This is the lawless land of Linjiang City. Don't be surprised. It's just a little sleeping potion. Since they're being unkind, don't blame me for being unjust. As he spoke, he took out an antidote and threw it into my mouth. Then he shouted loudly outside, Not enough, not enough. Bring me another whole roasted demon beast. Outside the private room, the waiter's face twitched. He asked the owner in a low voice, Owner, this person has already eaten almost 1,000 taels of silver. He's eaten 2 demon beasts. Should we continue to serve him? The owner sneered. Continue to serve him. Feed him until he's satisfied. Also, double the amount of soft fragrance powder. This guy must have a lot of magic treasures and money on him. This little bit of food and wine isn't a loss. Time quickly passed, and after 2 hours, I was completely stuffed. I had eaten so much that I was like a ball. I couldn't even squeeze in a single peanut. He Huang not only ate his fill but also secretly went to the kitchen and packed a portion of demon beast meat. Are we just leaving like this? I asked in disbelief. He Huang cursed. Nonsense. This restaurant is obviously a black shop. It's good enough that they didn't feed you human flesh. You're still planning to pay. I mean, aren't you going to kill and rob them? I was even prepared to burn down this restaurant. He Huang was speechless when he heard my words. Hey, sometimes you're even less human than me. After we left, the door to the private room was kicked open. The owner walked in with a gloomy smile. With this heavy dose, even immortals will be in trouble. I don't believe. Before he could finish speaking, he was stunned. The room was a mess. Where was the dwarf? Where's the person? Did he run? Waiter, go and notify the Tiankue sect. Search the entire city for me. Even if you're a cultivator, I will personally kill you for eating a king's meal at my Blood Wolf restaurant. The waiter behind him responded and immediately rushed out of the restaurant with a group of people. Afterward, He Huang and I found an abandoned house to stay in. You slowly practice your speech. I'm going out to take care of something. I'll be right back. He Huang gave me an order and put on his robe and went outside. I frowned, feeling that something was wrong. No, I have to follow him and see what this old dog is planning to do behind my back. If he tricks me, I won't even know. I have to keep a close eye on him. After thinking, I immediately took out a talisman and skillfully followed behind He Huang. I followed behind, watching in astonishment. I saw him first go to an equipment shop and hand over a snake-shaped longsword. He sold it to the shop owner for 8 spirit stones. That should be something from that Jiedon, core formation, avatar storage bag. All that talk about a 50-50th split is a lie. I plan to quietly follow him, and then make him cough it all up after he sold everything. He Huang continued forward, making twists and turns, and then went to a shop that bought and sold medicinal herbs. He took out a pile of herbs and sold them for 15 spirit stones. I couldn't help but curse silently in my heart. Damn it. He's been secretly pocketing so many treasures. No wonder the Jiedon avatar's storage bag didn't have any valuable treasures. He had already taken them all. The old dog continued to visit other shops, selling a lot of treasures. I resisted the urge to rush out and bite him, quietly following behind him. At this time, 2 black-robed cultivators came from afar. These were the robes of the Tiankue sect disciples. The Tiankue sect was the #1 sect in the Qin kingdom, the overlord of the Qin kingdom. Every city was under the jurisdiction of the Tiankue sect. One of the horse-faced cultivators said with a gloomy expression, "Damn it. I've actually been assigned to this godforsaken place. I can only go back after being stationed here for 3 years. It's almost curfew, and we still have to help that group of trash find someone." The other handsome young man said calmly, "There's no choice. We haven't been able to establish our foundation yet, so we can only obey the arrangements. Although Linjung City is chaotic, if we handle it well, there's still some profit to be made." While the two were chatting, they noticed the old dog out of the corner of their eyes. "Isn't that person the dwarf that reported eating without paying? It's him. How annoying. We have to handle this kind of stupid thing. Senior brother Zhao, wait for me. I'll take care of him right away." Yu Chang was about to act, but Xiao Yidwa stopped him. "Wait, junior brother Yu. Can you use your brain when you do things? Look," he went into Wanbao Pavilion. "Maybe he has some valuable items on him. Let's follow him and see what happens first." I witnessed the entire process from not far away. After hearing their conversation, I felt that something was not good. It's over. The old dog is being targeted. But luckily, they haven't reached the Zhuji stage. He Huang walked into the hall and threw out a storage bag. "See how much all of this is worth." After the manager's divine sense scanned the items and examined them, his eyes widened. He took a deep breath and spoke solemnly. "Fellow Taoist, why don't we go inside and talk in detail?" He Huang nodded and walked into the reception room. I didn't follow him in, but waited outside the gate of Wanbao Pavilion. Looking at those 2 Tiankue sect disciples, a stick of incense worth of time passed in the blink of an eye. Unable to wait any longer, the 2 rushed into Wanbao Pavilion and asked the manager urgently, "What did that black-clothed dwarf come in here to do just now?" When the manager saw that they were from the Tiankue sect, he was so frightened that his body trembled. He didn't hide anything and told them everything. He sold many Yujian magic weapons from the Bushi sect and exchanged them for a large number of fragile body pills and demon beast meat from the late Tongling Spirit Connection stage. "Nonsense. Who asked you about these things? Where did he go?" The manager answered tremblingly, "He just left through the back door." After hearing this, the 2 didn't delay and immediately chased after the direction in which He Huang disappeared. "Hurry up and chase him. This person is probably going outside the city. Spread a divine sense net from the south gate." I found him. He's on the roof. I didn't want to get involved, but He Huang seemed to have exchanged for many fragile body pills and had demon beast meat. This shows that He Huang wasn't completely pocketing everything and had still bought me some things. Speaking of which, with the old dog's strength, it should be impossible for him not to have noticed the Tiankue sect disciples. Is he deliberately walking so slowly to fish? Although with these two people's strength, they shouldn't be able to kill the old dog, but just in case someone escapes and causes endless trouble, it's still safer for me to come and cover his back. After thinking about this, I accelerated and followed them. Unknowingly, the group had chased each other to the most desolate place in the east of the city. This place was abandoned, with broken houses and empty stone households. There were hardly any people to be seen. Yuchang saw He Huang rush into a dilapidated house, but when he walked in, he didn't find anyone. There was only a big black dog peeing in the corner. He spread his divine sense, but he couldn't find the other party. But the other party's aura hadn't disappeared and was still nearby. Zhaoid's face darkened, and a strong sense of alertness rose in his heart. The other party had obviously discovered that they were being followed and had deliberately lured them here. This was a secluded place, perfect for killing people and destroying the bodies. Fellow Taoist, we are the Tiankue sect's dispatched disciples. We are here to manage the order of Linjiang City and have no malicious intentions. Please show yourself. After the words fell, there was no response. Yuchang revealed a disdainful sneer. Senior Brother Zhao, your words are too formal. People may not understand them. Let me put it another way. He took a step forward and shouted loudly at the dilapidated house in front of him. Dwarf, come out and accept our interrogation within 3 breaths. Otherwise, your end will be like this dog. As soon as he finished speaking, he drew his knife and slashed down. A cold light draped onto the black dog that had been peeing. The black dog let out a mournful cry and was split into 2 pieces. Fresh blood flowed all over the ground, but it didn't die. The front half opened its mouth and bit directly at Yuchang. Yuchang's mouth curled up in a mocking smile. You think I don't know it's you? He drew back while throwing a pile of storage bags. A large number of lizard puppets flew out from them and shot towards the black dog's body. The old dog smiled like a sinister old thief. You think I don't know that you know it's me? Idiots! Yuchang snorted coldly. You're playing with nesting dolls with me? Nonsense. You're still going to die. As soon as the words fell, the lizard suddenly spewed out a large number of fireballs that exploded near the old black dog. Large patches of bloodlight, dark-colored collapse, smoke, and dust rose up, and pieces of meat and bones mixed with blood flew everywhere. Did we kill him? No, he's still alive. Danger. Junior brother, you dodge. Zhaoidwa realized that something was wrong and quickly pulled Yuchang away from the pieces of meat, but the lizard puppets couldn't avoid it. All the lizard puppets that had been stuck with the pieces of meat stopped moving and lost their luster. At this time, the pieces of meat quickly gathered and formed the old dog, who lunged towards Yuchang. I was hiding in the dark, watching the fight and thinking, so that's what it means to be scattered. I feel like there's no need for me to go down and help the old dog. The one using the sword can't hurt the old dog at all, and the person in the distance hasn't even made a move. It's better for me to just keep an eye on the other person. I can go down at a crucial moment and make the old dog owe me a favor. After a bout of fighting, Yuchang couldn't do anything to the old black dog. Swords and blades were useless. It's my fault for being incompetent. I can only ask my senior brother for help. The old black dog arrogantly mocked. Kid, you're already tired? I haven't even had my fun yet. Zhaoid was solemnly instructed. There's no other way. Use those 2 things. Yuchang nodded and then patted the Chua flail. In the next second, a flash of white light appeared, and a huge frog-shaped puppet appeared in front of them. The old black dog sneered at the sight. This puppet looks incredibly clumsy. You actually think you can use it against me? Just as he finished speaking, the Tiankue sect cultivators launched their attack. Zhaoidwa held a wind sail and vigorously shook it, creating a violent gust of wind that instantly formed a tornado. The old black dog's flesh and blood were swept towards the giant frog puppet. Swallow it clean. Seeing the flesh and blood approaching, Yuchang quickly controlled the giant frog to suck the old black dog completely into its stomach. He should be dead this time, right? Probably, but let's not be careless. The 2 cautiously stared at the giant frog puppet, only to see it suddenly start to swell and grow larger in the next second. In just a few breaths, it was completely burst open from the inside. The old black dog roared and rushed out. Yuchang's face showed horror. This giant frog puppet was one of his trump cards. Invincible with his help, yet it was defeated in one gulp. The 2 turned and ran without hesitation, but at this moment, an extremely ugly blood-colored sea of mist appeared behind them. It looked like a giant human mouth, emitting a bloody aura, completely blocking their retreat. Yuchang angrily threatened, I am a Tiankue sect disciple. How dare you kill me? Zhaoidwa shouted loudly, "Junior brother you. There's no need to waste words with him. Let's join forces and kill this rogue." Seeing that they couldn't escape, the two could only pick up their weapons and engage in close combat with the old black dog. However, how could they, mere assistant stage cultivators, possibly be a match for the old dog? As soon as they got close, they were engulfed in the blood mist. As time passed, the blood mist increased, and injuries gradually appeared on the two of them. Defeat and death were only a matter of time. I looked at the situation, sighed, and turned to leave. The outcome was decided. These two were doomed to die, with no chance of winning. This old dog is actually this powerful, and he's been keeping it a secret. Damn it, I have to hurry up and cultivate too. Walking through 2 streets and about to leave the East District, I suddenly sensed a familiar divine stone nearby. Curiously, I followed the divine stone and found a motionless old beggar in a corner. The beggar was unkempt and dirty, and his face was unclear. His fingers were twitching, as if playing a drum, as if there were invisible strings in the air being played by him. I quietly observed him for a while and suddenly had a flash of inspiration, realizing that something was wrong. The scar near the old beggar's eyebrows was actually the same as that of one of the Tian Kuei sect cultivators inside. My mind buzzed, and I thought of a possibility. Could that cultivator be fake? The black and yellow object was a puppet, and this is his real body. It is said that the Tian Kuei sect's puppetry can create puppets that are exactly like people, to deceive and confuse. If that's really the case, then it all makes sense. This must be his true form. But in case he's also a puppet, I didn't act rashly to avoid startling the snake and letting the real mastermind escape. Instead, I immediately took action, spreading my divine sense to search the vicinity. The distance between the true form and the puppet couldn't be too far. After searching, I confirmed that there were no other suspicious individuals nearby, only this beggar, so I immediately made preparations. This person might have life-saving treasures. I had to act cautiously and decisively and leave no one alive. Fire explosion talismans, wind blade talismans, lightning strike talismans, all the offensive spirit talismans I had obtained were arranged. Finally, I climbed onto the wall behind the beggar, and my throat bulged as true chi quickly compressed in my mouth. This was my strongest attack, Enhanced Ultimate Deluxe Fireball. The intensely condensed fireball had turned into a deep black, and the temperature distorted the air. At this moment, the beggar sensed the danger and finally woke up. What kind of fiend dares to ambush me? He shouted angrily and quickly activated a water-attributed defensive treasure. The 5 elements counter each other. What can you do against my water orb defense? Before he could gloat, he was suddenly paralyzed by a burst of violent lightning energy. Lightning talisman, so that's it. This bastard bombarded me with a mixture of 5-element talismans. Is this person an idiot? Doesn't he know the talismans might explode? There are also talismans on the wall. No human could do this. The old beggar was stunned when he saw the surrounding area was full of talismans. Higi, you realized it too late, idiot. Fire explosion talisman, wind blade talisman, lightning strike talisman, explode together for me. The old beggar's face changed wildly, and before he could catch his breath, he unhesitatingly activated a body-protecting treasure called the Xianhuang Bell. You despicable brat, you won't succeed. With this treasure protecting me, you won't hurt me a bit. Halfway through his words, he suddenly realized that the Xianhuang Bell had been instantly cut open by a golden bell fragment. No. The beggar screamed, helplessly watching various attacks descend, completely engulfing his figure. Continuous explosions rang out, the earth shook, and the houses on the entire street completely collapsed, like the heavens and earth collapsing. All of this seemed slow, but it happened in a flash of lightning. Zhaoidwa couldn't understand until his death why a spirit-opening stage demon beast would launch such outrageous attacks. Bell fragment, what kind of thing are you? I discovered he wasn't completely dead yet. I was startled and bombarded him again with a frenzy of attacks, exploding the ground where he was, as if the sky was about to fall. The terrifying tremors were clearly audible even outside the East District. Although killings and tragedies often happened in Linjiang City, it was rare to encounter such a commotion, causing nearby residents to panic and flee to avoid being affected. The tremors lasted for the time it takes to burn an incense stick before finally subsiding. The old black dog far away also noticed it and looked at the direction of the tremors with suspicion. That commotion was caused by that kid Suhei. What scared him again? Then I need to speed up my progress here. That kid can't do anything right without me. A moment later, Zhaoidwa's weak aura finally completely disappeared. I breathed a sigh of relief and excitedly began to collect the magic items that hadn't been destroyed by the explosion. Hiki, these treasures need to be hidden well. In a short period of time, I couldn't seize another body again, but my dog body wouldn't change after all. I originally wanted to use soul searching after killing someone to obtain the puppetry technique and create a human form. This time I messed up. In the first level, I can only make some mechanical beasts. Temporary human puppets are out of the question for now. Forget it. I'll go find Suhei first. Zhaoidwa's true body must be in the city. At that time, I can stir up the situation and get Suhei to help me deal with Zhaoidwa. After some consideration, the old black dog flashed and left, finding me soon after the commotion. This is Zhaoidwa's ashes. You killed Zhaoidwa? Faced with the old black dog's doubts, I quickly shook my head and pretended not to know. What Zhaoidwa? I've been cultivating here all along. I've never gone out and fought with the disciples of the Tian Kuei sect. The old black dog smiled deviously and stared at my storage bag. Did I mention the Tian Kuei sect? You can't even lie convincingly. Stop. Don't run. It's too clumsy. Hand over the treasures and we'll split it 50-50. Seeing that I was guilty, the old dog quickly stopped me. I looked at him angrily. I haven't even settled the matter of you being arrogant behind my back, and you're already accusing me first? At this time, human voices came from not far away. Seeing this, the old dog and I quickly left and stopped by the Yanluo River outside Linjiang City. Then we had a pleasant sharing session, strictly implementing the 50-50 plan. The old black dog took out a large amount of pills and demon beast meat, all of which were beneficial to my cultivation and worth hundreds of spirit stones. It was enough for me to eat for half a year, and he said that he would definitely not hide anything in the future. I didn't believe a word of it. This old dog was suddenly so powerful, he must have hidden a lot of good things. However, I still took out Zhaoidwa's 3 treasures, a tattered bronze bell, a set of silver soft armor, and a pile of metal materials for making puppets. This was the equipment that Zhaoidwa dropped. My storage bag was burned, leaving only these things. The old black dog picked up the bronze bell and looked at it. There were 3 scratches on it, almost cutting the bell in half. This looks like the handiwork of that bell fragment. I'll fix it for you later. It can still be used. This silver armor is average, just a low-grade spirit treasure. I'll take this one. The old dog said with a devious smile, grabbing the silver armor and running. I quickly followed behind, asking if it could be modified so I could wear it. The old dog glanced at me and said with a smile, "You can barely use this thing when you reach the 7th level of spirit opening, so forget it for now. Let me take the loss." As he spoke, he put on the silver armor. The armor flashed with a light, clinging to his body, perfectly fitting. This was definitely not a low-grade product, and I was tricked by this old dog again. I was so angry that I almost couldn't help but rush up and bite him. The old dog quickly took out a large pile of puppet mechanical beasts. "I'll give you all these puppets. Is that okay?" I glanced at them. These mechanical beasts included lizards, toads, and birds, all the things that Yu Chang used, and they weren't very useful. Are you trying to fool a 3-year-old? Seeing that he couldn't fool me, the old dog pointed to the pile of metal materials and said, "I'll also use these ink gold stones to make you an ultimate puppet. In addition, I'll strengthen all the puppets for you. Is that enough?" I gritted my teeth and reluctantly agreed. Fortunately, I still had a small jade stone hidden, which was probably the most valuable thing on Zhaoidwa. This old dog is a crafty one. He must have hidden things as well. Damn it, I have to learn from him. Can't be too honest. Time passed quickly, and a day later, the old black dog found a place suitable for long-term cultivation in the forest on the north bank of the Yanluo River. This was an abandoned spirit vein mine, which was mined out as early as 500 years ago. It hadn't been managed for hundreds of years. I entered the cave dwelling and spread out my divine sense. Deep underground, I faintly discovered some traces left behind from that time. Mining carts about to turn to ash, human skeletons about to become fossils, and some hoes and tools. Although the spirit stones had been completely mined, the spirit energy was still denser than other places. "Let's get to work," the old black dog said, taking out a large vat, filling it with clean water, and then sprinkling in some reddish powder. In a moment, the clean water in the vat turned red and faintly showed signs of boiling. He explained that the powder was Shaoyang powder, a high-grade elixir used to temper the body and strengthen the bones. It was an extremely rare body tempering spirit medicine, and even that small amount was worth 20 spirit stones. After saying that, he kicked me into the medicine barrel. Not long after entering the medicine barrel, My skin gradually turned red, and my muscles all over my body spasmed with pain. This intense pain was even stronger than when I was hundreds of meters underground. The old black dog laughed from the side. The first body tempering is the most effective. Don't faint on me. Of course I wouldn't faint. My willpower was 100 times stronger than ordinary people. Before long, a layer of old snakeskin peeled off from my body, turning to ashes in the medicine water. I didn't shed skin when I broke through last time, so this made up for it. I could clearly feel that my bones were growing, my meridians were strengthening, and every inch of my flesh and blood was rapidly strengthening. This body tempering lasted for a full week. After a week, the medicine in the barrel had evaporated completely. My body had grown again, reaching 4 meters in length. Although my body had become longer, I had a feeling that I could shrink at any time if I wanted to. Not only could I control the size of my body at will, but my strength and speed were also 3 times stronger than before. Although my cultivation was still stuck at the peak of the 6th level of spirit opening, my strength was different. My spirit lines had increased a lot again, spreading from my tail towards my torso. I estimated that when my body reached the great perfection of spirit openings, it would cover my entire body. Then wouldn't I become a yellow snake? I'd probably have to change my name to Su Huang. What about the old dog? He hasn't returned for 7 days, and there's no sign of him within 200 meters. Well, it's good that he hasn't returned for the time being. I can take this opportunity to study the small jade stone I had earlier. Let me see what this is. I immediately took out the jade stone and probed it with my divine stone. The result was that the jade stone was like a bottomless pit, extending infinitely with no end. When my divine stone probed hundreds of meters, I finally encountered an obstacle. After passing through the obstacle, I was shocked to discover that there was a huge storage space of about 100 meters inside, 1,000 times larger than a storage bag. Inside was a pile of spirit stones as high as a mountain, at least 1,000. Even more surprising was that next to this small mountain of spirit stones were 5 square spirit stones, as if they were cut out by artificial means. The intensity of the spirit energy was completely different from ordinary spirit stones. I'm rich. I'm rich. The quality of these square spirit stones is 100 times higher than ordinary spirit stones. The old dog can't know about this, or he'll definitely snatch them. I was alert and planned to put away the spirit stones. Then the few square spirit stones in front of me suddenly flew into my mouth uncontrollably, flying toward the demon god peak in my body, directly hitting the surface of the demon god peak. More precisely, it hit the flood dragon statue on the surface of the demon god peak. I watched the scene dumbfounded as the square spiritual stone melted at a speed visible to the naked eye and was completely absorbed by the dragon statue. It doesn't absorb ordinary spiritual stones, only this high-grade one. This thing is quite picky. I'll have to ask Black Yellow later what kind of spiritual stone this is. Just as I was pondering, a miserable howl of the black dog suddenly came from outside. Suhei, save me. Save me. The voice was extremely shrill, which surprised me. What existence did this old dog provoke again? Scared like this. I was initially planning to see the old dog make a fool of himself, but I instantly felt my scalp tingle, and my whole snake almost jumped up. I saw countless ants frantically chasing after Black Yellow deep underground, densely packed and endless. More than billions wouldn't be enough to describe it. These ants flew through the air and tunneled underground, fast as lightning. Soon, a few pounced on the old dog's tail and bit off some fur. The old dog screamed in pain, its legs almost smoking from running so fast. Suhei, come down and help spray fire. Hearing its miserable cries, I was somewhat gleeful. Damn, you blew up an ant nest. If you want to die, don't drag me down. You spray it yourself. Suhei, this thing can counter me. My firestorm axe is almost out of power, and my true energy is also running low. They can crawl into the gaps in my magical armor. I grumbled and reluctantly dove underground, soon reaching its front. Opening my mouth, a large ball of fire tree suddenly formed. Black Yellow desperately used his last true energy to protect his body surface and ran toward the fire tree. The ants following behind were instantly burned to death in part by the flames, but a large new batch emerged from the ground. I didn't hesitate and activated my earth escape technique to the fullest, grabbing the black dog and rapidly drilling upwards. However, the ants were chasing closely behind, impossible to shake off. In an instant, we reached the surface. Black Yellow sent a treasure fan into the sky, gave a shout, and fled towards the Yanluo River. Is this Xiaoyidua's fan? Good heavens, you're still hiding treasures from me. I really can't trust you, you old dog. After the ants chased to the ground, they spread their wings to fly, but they immediately retreated back into the cave as soon as they were exposed to the sunlight, apparently afraid of the sun. Seeing this scene, we finally dared to breathe a sigh of relief. What exactly were those ants? How did you provoke them? Hearing my question, the old dog replied, that thing is called a spirit ant, and it specializes in eating spiritual stones. They usually gather at the bottom of mines to hibernate, but as soon as a spiritual stone appears, they start devouring it like crazy. They like a physique like mine with abundant spiritual energy the most. Hearing this explanation, I suddenly understood. Then I had a sinking feeling. Are you saying they suddenly went berserk because of spiritual energy? How far can they sense spiritual stones? The black dog replied, they can sense ordinary spiritual stones within about 100 meters. If it's an extremely rare high-grade spiritual stone, they can smell it from 1,000 meters away. Not to mention top-grade spiritual stones, which will cause the entire ant colony to go berserk. Why are you asking this? The old dog looked at me with suspicious eyes. So it was me who tricked Black Yellow. My few spiritual stones were probably top grade. This whole incident was probably caused by me. I shook my head repeatedly, answering a bit nervously. It's nothing, just curious. As soon as I finished speaking, the sky suddenly changed. Dark clouds covered the river. Can this fan handle it? It should be okay, this is at least. He was halfway through his sentence when a bolt of lightning struck down, hitting the treasure fan Black Yellow was using. The treasure fan was directly broken in half and turned into junk. Before we could react, we were uncontrollably pulled into a whirlpool on the river. The whirlpool suction was too strong. There was nowhere to get a foothold. While shrinking my body, I used water bullet techniques to counteract the pull, which temporarily stabilized me. Before I could catch my breath, I turned my head and saw the old dog had already been pulled into the center of the whirlpool. Crap, this old dog is too useless this time. I quickly dove underwater, wrapped my tail around him, and used all my strength to swim to the shore. We were finally saved. But why isn't this old dog waking up? Could he really be so jealous like humans? No, that's too disgusting. Better kill me and be done with it. At this moment, a phrase flashed through my mind. Beat a drowning dog. This suits me. I chuckled darkly, grabbed his tail, and whipped him hard. After a stick of incense's worth of whipping, Black Yellow finally woke up. Should I ask him about those top-grade spiritual stones while he's still dizzy? I hesitated for a moment and opened my mouth. Black Yellow, I'm asking you. I used to have a monster friend who saw a square spiritual stone. Hearing these words, Black Yellow's eyes lit up excitedly. What? The old black dog excitedly asked. Do you have a top-grade spiritual stone cut from an entire spiritual vein? Where did it come from? I quickly denied. I don't. I just want to ask you for my friend. Where can you get one? Hearing this, the old black dog chuckled. Today you saved me. I owe you a favor. This kind of spiritual stone. Maybe you can get one by killing demon cultivators. Or you can go back to that semi-abandoned spirit mine and try your luck. Is your friend interested? Hearing this, I shook my head. Never mind, I didn't ask. Everything was destroyed, leaving only scorched earth. Led by Snake Catcher Sect, the Xiao Sect, Banshan Sect, Zixia Sect, and other second-rate sects all sent a large number of disciples to the deep mountains to practice and search for treasures. Deep in the forest, a 2-meter-long white snake was hiding in a pool of mud, motionless and not daring to breathe. There were already several wounds on her body. Her snake bones were broken, and she was exhausted. Not far away, 2 Banshan sect cultivators were using their spiritual sense to scan the area. This demon has swallowed 5 of our Banshan sect disciples. Today, we must flay her alive and let her die slowly and painfully. Zhu scanned the surrounding area with a sinister expression. The cultivator Shui, who next to him responded, Senior brother, I'm sure that white snake disappeared around here. She was hit by my bone crusher hammer, so she definitely can't have gone far. The two of them launched a carpet search from left to right, gradually getting closer and closer to the white snake's hiding place. Senior brother, she's hiding in this swamp. But she's hiding a bit low, so it will take some time to find her. As soon as he finished speaking, a loud wolf howl suddenly came from the distance, followed by fireballs flying out of the bushes. Damn it, it's that mangy wolf again. Shuehu cursed and quickly dodged. During these days that they were chasing the white snake, this balding wolf appeared from time to time, throwing a few fireballs and running away. If it weren't for this wolf's harassment, they would have captured the white snake long ago. Zhu Zhe, who was prepared, had a glint in his eyes and a sinister smile. Interesting. We might as well kill him together. Junior brother, we're eating wolf meat tonight. After saying that, he took a metal hook and went towards the Wolf King. The Wolf King spat out a fireball and turned around to run, while using telepathy to tell the white snake, "White snake, run quickly. I'll lead them away." The white snake responded and, taking a deep breath, emerged from the mud and moved quickly forward. Zhu Zhe glanced at the fleeing white snake and then at the Wolf King and said coldly, "None of you will escape. Shuehu, you go chase the white snake. I'll take care of this wolf." At the same time, in the Wutuo mountain on the border of Chujiang, after 2 months of cultivation, my strength had increased by leaps and bounds again. Although my cultivation was still at the 6th level of the spiritual communication realm, I could feel that if I faced Zhao Yiduo again, a simple gravitational manipulation spell would be enough to blow him away. The gravitational manipulation spell had become greatly advanced, not much different from Qindaoling back then. The fireball spell had also become greatly advanced. This kind of low-level spell was no longer suitable for me. Fortunately, I had cultivated the fire snake spell to replace it. The earth escape technique could travel 1,000 miles a day. In addition, I had also cultivated the wind blade spell and the lightning strike spell, whose power was even stronger than the fire snake spell. Besides that, the puppets that Black Yellow helped me upgrade were also finished. After these few days of testing, I could control them pretty well. All the puppets could share the vision of the main body. This feeling of breath had never existed before. It was as if I was the king of this mountain. At this moment, Black Yellow suddenly appeared and said, "Suhei, stop being narcissistic here. Your two friends are probably in big trouble." Hearing this, I was immediately happy. "Are you talking about Little White and Wolf King?" Black Yellow nodded. "Yes. Before parting, I put a golden light shield on them. If they encountered a life or death crisis, it would automatically activate and protect them once, but it could only last for 1 hour. It has already been activated, and their location is in the mountains behind 10,000 Snake Valley." Hearing this, I disappeared instantly, activating the Earth Escape technique to the fullest and moving forward at an unprecedented speed. At this time, in a pit 500 miles away, Little White Snake was smashed into the pit. There was a huge hammer above, constantly hammering down. She was already severely injured and unable to move. A layer of hazy golden light surrounded her, blocking all attacks, but as time went by, the golden light was gradually dissipating. Shuehu excitedly held up the big hammer. "This snake has a lot of secrets on her. Maybe she's the old snake demon that's been widely rumored about before." Another cultivator, Zhu Zhe, threw out chains, binding the Wolf King layer upon layer to make him unable to move. However, there was also a layer of golden light protection on the Wolf King's body, preventing the chains from getting close. It shouldn't be him. The old Snake King is said to be a black snake. As for this golden light shield, don't waste your energy. I've noticed that it will also fade with time. It's estimated that it will disappear automatically in less than an hour. Hearing this, Shuehu's eyes flashed with excitement. Then in at most an hour, we can capture this demon and our contribution will be huge. Zhu Zhe narrowed his eyes. He always felt that this golden light was like it was delaying time, which gave him a bad feeling. "Are there any senior uncles from our Banshan sect nearby?" Shuehu asked doubtfully. "Uncle Yi is at the camp 100 miles away." "What's wrong?" "Uncle Yi is enough." Zhu Zhe took out a communication jade slip, recorded a message, and threw it towards the horizon. Shuehu was surprised. If he called a 7th-level spiritual communication realm senior over, their credit would be reduced by at least half. Zhu Zhe shook his head cautiously. "It won't be. Calling Uncle Yi is to prevent these two demons from having backers. If they don't, Uncle Yi will arrive in an hour. By then, we can just capture these two demons. So it shouldn't be a total loss of credit." Having said that, he cast the Earth Prison spell, transforming into an Earth Dragon and trapping the White Snake and Wolf King inside. An hour passed. I advanced rapidly and finally arrived at the destination when the time limit was about to expire. My spiritual sense spread out, and I immediately discovered faint golden light within the two dragon-shaped earth mounds. It was the White Snake and the Wolf King. However, I didn't see any human cultivators. They must be hiding. I narrowed my eyes and didn't rush to rescue them. Instead, I first released the small lizards and scattered them. The other party was very cautious. If I recklessly investigated with my spiritual sense, I would startle them. Using mechanical beasts was the most secure option. 100 meters away, Zhu Zhe and the others were hiding behind a tree, secretly observing. It seems that I was worrying too much. These two demons don't have any helpers. Shuehu laughed. Then let's go over and kill them quickly. Lest Uncle Yi. The two said as they went back. At this moment, a lizard suddenly appeared on the tree. Wait, what's that? Zhu Zhe's eyes flashed, and he stopped warily. Shuehu was secretly disdainful in his heart. Senior brother, you're such a coward. Isn't that just a little lizard? Why are you scaring yourself? Senior brother, look, it was so scared that it twitched just by me glaring at it. Senior brother, look, just a glare from you made it twitch in fear. Shuehu was halfway through his sentence when he suddenly shouted, Oh no! The twitching lizard abruptly raised its head. A red glow of fire ignited in its mouth. Simultaneously, red lights began to flicker from the surrounding bushes, a dense, overwhelming mass that completely surrounded them. Zhu Zhe's pupils contracted. He immediately reminded Shuehu to activate the cherry blossom tree defense, but it was already too late. About 50 beams of fire covered them from all directions, directly bombarding the two of them. In just one exchange, Shuehu was severely injured. Zhu Zhe fared slightly better. His cultivation had reached the 7th or 8th level of the qi refining stage, putting him in the late stage. He had always been extremely cautious. The moment the white light appeared, he had activated the cherry blossom tree, blocking 80% of the fiery bombardment, which was a puppet mechanism technique of the Tiankui sect. Damn it! How did cultivators from the Qin state get here? Zhu Zhe's heart trembled. He took a deep breath and cupped his fists towards the front. I am Zhu Zhe, a disciple of the Banshan sect. Fellow Taoists of the Tiankui sect, is there some misunderstanding? Misunderstanding? There was no reply from me. No misunderstanding. Keep firing. I continued to control the puppet lizards to attack. Seeing another round of artillery fire approaching, Zhu Zhe quickly deployed 3 rotating shields and simultaneously petrified his skin, enduring all the attacks. These small lizards were still too weak. They could only accumulate injuries on cultivators in the middle of the 7th level of qi refining, and were still powerless against late-stage cultivators who specialized in defense. Zhu Zhe's expression turned grim. Since the other party was being unreasonable, he wouldn't hold back. So what if they were from the Tiankui sect? They were on Chu state territory, so they had to behave. He quickly observed his surroundings and began to analyze. The divine sense of all the puppets led to one place. This person was underground. Hiding underground was no different from being completely exposed to the Banshan sect, which specialized in breath techniques. Since you refuse to speak properly, then I shall come and meet you. Zhu Zhe formed a hand seal in the air. The underground rocks immediately condensed into stone needles, rushing towards me, hands clasped. Filthy Qin bastards. Shuehu, senior brother will avenge you. Seeing the attack approaching, I immediately spat out blades, firing several in rapid succession to create a dense rain of blades that scattered and shattered all the stone needles. They struck directly at Zhu Zhe's face. His expression changed drastically. He instantly condensed a thick earthen armor for defense, but the armor was like paper against the blades, easily sliced in two. With a poochie sound, one of his arms was directly severed, falling into the mud. Severely injured in a single exchange, Zhu Zhe's hair stood on end. A strong sense of danger welled up within him. He instinctively wanted to beg for mercy. The communication jade slip reacted. Martial Uncle Yi was nearby. I had to stall for time. Martial Uncle Yi would save me. Senior, spare my life. Before he could finish begging for mercy, I unleashed my full cultivation. A bolt of lightning shot out from my mouth, striking Zhu Zhe directly. The lightning engulfed him, crackling and popping from the inside out, leaving him thoroughly charred. Zhu Zhe twitched all over, his hair blackened and his eyes wide. instantly losing his life. After killing him, I didn't pause for a second, immediately rushing towards the two mounts, wanting to save Xiaobai and Wolf King. But at that moment, a giant sword suddenly appeared, slashing down in front of me. On the sword stood a thin, bald old man with a white beard. He was Yi Haichuan, an elder of the Banshan sect, at the early stage of the Foundation establishment realm. Yi Haichuan stared at me with a cold sneer. I've long heard that a black snake and a black dog have appeared in this mountain. Not only do they possess spiritual intelligence, but they can also speak human words, kill disciples of the snake-catching sect, and steal the spirit puppets of the Xiaoyao sect. I thought it was just a rumor, but seeing it today is truly extraordinary. You killed a disciple of my Banshan sect. Today, you won't leave here alive, he said, pointing his sword into the air. Suddenly, the sky darkened and yellow sand filled the air. Countless sand and stones floated up, forming a vast and boundless storm, carrying an endless gale that swept towards me. This was the breath technique, sandstorm. This was a Foundation establishment cultivator. Before even getting close, he could unleash such a large-scale spell. It was on a completely different level from the Qi refining stage, like heaven and earth. My small lizards were blown away by the sandstorm, torn to pieces in midair, leaving not even a scrap behind. In an instant, I lost most of them. There was no time to feel heartache. Yi Haichuan's figure flashed, and he charged towards me with his sword, smashing down like a mountain opening up the heavens. I knew I couldn't dodge this blow, so I swung my tail fiercely, colliding with the giant sword. A deafening Weng-ling sound reverberated through the heavens and the earth. A shocking scene appeared to Yi Haichuan. His flying sword was actually dented with a series of densely packed notches. I was also in a bad state. My body shook violently, and I was knocked back dozens of meters. Although my tail was protected by the black crystal spirit plates and was unharmed, my internal organs suffered severe tremors. My bones even showed signs of fracturing. This was Foundation establishment. The difference in cultivation was too great. There was only one way to win against him. Yi Haichuan was shocked, his gaze fixed on me, as if he wanted to see through me. A dignified Foundation establishment cultivator couldn't even cut down a level 7 spirit snake demon with one sword strike. I was becoming more and more curious. What secrets do you have? Yi, where are you running? Seeing me use Earth Escape to drill into the ground, Yi Haichuan immediately used a hand seal to activate a spell. The mud below instantly hardened and solidified, turning into a rocky area. One couldn't use Earth Escape to travel through such rocks. It could trap the opponent. However, to his astonishment, I was completely unaffected, my speed not even slowing down. In countless times of tempering my body, I often placed myself 800 meters underground, long adapting to the extremely solid underground environment. Even rocks I could pass through. Drawing earth into stone is useless. How is this possible? This demonic beast is too unusual. No wonder 2 disciples died at its hands. But you've encountered me this time. You won't escape no matter what. Complete seal. Yi Haichuan thrust his sword into the ground, his mind activating. Almost simultaneously, a huge nail, like a pillar piercing the heavens, pierced through the earth and shot towards me. I broke out in a cold sweat, reflexively shifting slightly to the left, barely dodging it. You dodged it. What sharp movements. Yi Haichuan's heart trembled. He shouted again. Complete seal, surround and annihilate. As the sound of his voice fell, rumbling sounds rang out continuously. Earth nails continuously thrust out from the front, gradually forcing me backwards. If I was even a little slower, I would be pierced. Damn it. He doesn't want me to stay underground. I gritted my teeth, took out a wind speed talisman and stuck it on my abdomen, breaking through the ground and soaring into the sky, riding the wind. Hee, you finally came out. Sandstorm technique. Yi Haichuan pushed his hands forward, and endless sand and dust surged out once again, forming a rolling sandstorm that charged forward. But just as the sandstorm was about to reach me, I suddenly disappeared into thin air. Yi Haichuan's eyes narrowed, and his divine sense spread out, covering a radius of 500 meters. Then, he took out a handful of black dust and sprinkled it into the sky. It must be some kind of invisibility spirit talisman or magic weapon. I don't believe you can hide. Revealing sand. Reveal yourself. Revealing sand was the nemesis of all invisibility techniques. No matter where one hid or what method they used, as long as they were contaminated with this dust, their figure and outline would immediately be revealed. However, Yi Haichuan observed for a moment, but there was still no figure in front of him. Then there was only one possibility. The other party had turned back. At this moment, I was hidden 800 meters deep underground, panting heavily, covered in cold sweat. After becoming invisible, I had indeed turned back. Through several attempts, I had confirmed that I was no match for this person. Even if I went all out, my chances of winning were probably less than 30%. The old dog was right. Fighting above one's level was no different from going against the heavens. If I wanted to rescue Wolf King and Xiao Bai, I had to either wait for the old dog to arrive and fight together, or, while I was contemplating countermeasures, Yi Haichuan sneered. He didn't intend to search underground. Instead, he took his sword and walked towards the two mounds. He was here to save these two beasts anyway. I'll count to 10. If you don't come out, I'll immediately skin your two companions. In such a narrow space, killing them with complete seal would only take a few seconds. 2, 4, 6. I was hidden underground, my heart filled with anxiety. I absolutely couldn't let Wolf King and Xiao Bai suffer any harm. When the countdown was nearing 10, I proactively revealed my position. If you have the guts, come down. Don't you dare hurt them. Yi Haichuan's eyes flashed with a fierce light, and he rushed towards a certain location with unprecedented speed. The distance between them rapidly closed. He grasped his hand in the air. Instantly, the pressure of the rocks multiplied, squeezing crazily towards a central point. A burst of blood erupted in front. A large black snake was revealed from the rocks. It had already been crushed, its flesh and blood blurred, its bones broken and its scales shattered. Found you. Let's see where you can run this time. Yi Haichuan swung his giant sword and pierced my head without hesitation. Is that it? A bit of a pity. I wanted to capture it alive. Oh well, even dead, it's full of treasures. Bring it back to the sect. He had just thought of this. Suddenly, he saw Mo Jingshi appearing from the broken wound. Only then did he realize it was a puppet. But what about this flesh and blood? Scales. Damn it, I've been tricked. His true body was still underground, less than 5 zhang away from me. Within his divine senses detection range, a large handful of black and gold scales suddenly appeared behind him without warning. They pierced through the rock layer and shot towards his back. In an instant, Yi Haichuan activated 3 defensive spells and also activated the inner armor magic weapon on his body. But it was too fast, too close. Just as a gray light emerged from his body, countless scales shot onto him. Blood bloomed. Yi Haichuan's body was pierced. All his defenses were like paper, instantly shattering, leaving him bloody and his internal organs riddled with holes. I must escape. I must escape. Yi Haichuan took out a spirit talisman and activated it underground. A stream of air shot out from behind, carrying him upwards at high speed, watching him disappear into the distance. Although I had the intention to pursue, I was powerless to act. Yi Haichuan's heart pounded wildly. He finally reached the surface. The pain from his body brought waves of weakness, making him almost faint. He swallowed a blood spirit pill, suppressing his injuries. He never imagined that he would suffer such a great loss at the hands of a level 7 spirit snake demon. He even developed a psychological shadow. This snake demon was extraordinary. He had to quickly return and report to the sect. If this demon wasn't eliminated, it would be a great disaster. He activated his speed technique and was about to flee when a black dog's shadow suddenly appeared in front of him. The dog turned its head, looked at him, and revealed a ghostly smile. Yi Haichuan's pupils dilated, and his mouth hung open. Before he could even scream, he accidentally bumped into a tree. His vision went black, and his body permanently stiffened. The Black Emperor was dumbfounded. He hadn't done anything, just looked at this person, and this person had committed suicide by crashing into a tree. While the Black Emperor was puzzled, I had already caught up. Without saying anything, I directly spat out a fireball technique, burning Yi Haichuan's body. His flesh quickly melted, emitting a faint, weak wail. The Black Emperor heard the wail and was instantly shocked. In fact, Yi Haichuan wasn't dead. The moment he saw the black dog, he had activated the Return to the West technique, causing his body to enter a state of suspended animation and crashing into the tree to feign death, attempting to deceive everyone. But all of this was completely undone under the sweep of the fire snake technique. The Black Emperor looked at me, his expression darkening, and asked, "Were all the injuries on your body caused by the people from the Banshan sect?" I panted and replied, "Some of them, yes. The rest I did myself. I tore off a part of my skin and internal organs to disguise the puppet. Otherwise, I wouldn't have one." As I spoke, I could no longer hold on and collapsed to the ground, unconscious. The Black Emperor's eyes rarely showed a trace of anger. "Banshan sect, you bunch of bastards. You dare to injure my disciple. I, the heavenly demon scatterer, will have some fun with you this time." Time quickly passed. Half an hour later, the Black Emperor rescued Xiao Bai and Wolf King and placed us in a hidden barrier. "The three of you, rest and recover here. I need to go out for a while. I'll definitely be back before this incense stick burns out." After giving instructions, he took out a 3-meter-tall healing incense stick. This incense could help us heal faster. After doing all this, he glanced at me, unconscious. "Little Suzy, these storage bags are all yours. I didn't touch them. Next, I'm going to avenge you." At the same time, in the soul lamp hall of the Banshan sect, Yi Haichuan's soul lamp was extinguished. An elder had died. This was the first major event to happen in the Banshan sect in 10 years. The sect leader, Xianxia, summoned the elders to inquire about the investigation results. The elder, a madman, suspected that other sects had done it, but Chen Daolin, who was beside him, denied it. The 5 major factions of our snake-catching sect signed a peace treaty before entering the mountain. Even if there are conflicts, it's impossible for them to dare to kill even a Foundation establishment elder. Xianxia nodded. "Brother Daolin is right. You came from afar to negotiate, but such a thing happened to the Banshan sect. It's truly embarrassing. If it wasn't a cultivator, could it have been a demonic beast?" At the mention of demonic beasts, Chen Daolin's eyes turned red. He immediately thought of the black snake that had almost killed him. "I know who did it. It must be him. The black snake demon. Several of my disciples have fallen at his hands. Even I almost. In short, it's definitely him." After learning about the situation, Xianxia nodded. "I've also heard a little about this snake. Since Brother Daolin has fought with this snake, then you can assist us in pursuing and killing it." Soon, the snake-catching sect issued an order, instructing all disciples, "Immediately follow me to search the mountain. Those who find clues will be rewarded with 50 spirit stones. Tonight, our Banshan sect will definitely kill this snake to wash away our shame." At this time, the Black Emperor had just arrived near the Banshan sect. After learning of this news, he couldn't help but sneer. Then, he quietly went to the tomb of the Banshan sect's ancestor, Wu Yao, luring the tiger away from the mountain. "I don't even need to lure this tiger. You dare to bully little Suzy? Humph. Then don't blame me for digging up your ancestral grave." Relying on his superb skills, he quickly entered the mausoleum. It must be said that the Banshan sect was quite filial. They used the top-grade spirit treasure, the ice crown, to bury the Banshan old ancestor. Therefore, even after so many years of death, the Banshan old ancestor's body was still preserved as it was when he was alive. The old dog laughed sinisterly and wanted to take both the ice crown and the corpse, but he triggered the protective mechanisms within the mausoleum. Instantly, an ice dragon appeared, spewing out cold air and directly freezing him into an ice sculpture. "Damn it," the black dog cursed, transforming into a black dragon and breaking free. "Is there any tomb in this world that I, the heavenly demon scatterer, can't rob? When I was dominating the world, what was your Banshan sect?" The black dragon roared and soared into the sky, slapping the ice dragon with its claw and sending it crashing to the ground. The commotion from the fight quickly attracted the attention of the Banshan patrol disciples. The sect leader and elders had just left the sect. If something happened to the tomb, they wouldn't be able to bear the responsibility. 2 disciples hurriedly rushed to the mausoleum to investigate. However, it was already too late when they arrived. The Black Emperor had already succeeded and escaped. "This is bad. Our ancestor's grave has been dug up. Quickly send a message to Master and the others." Time quickly passed. An hour later, all the Banshan sect members had begun searching Iron Bear Mountain. But strangely, they still couldn't locate us through their compass. Just as they were at a loss, a bright light suddenly flashed from the neighboring mountain. The crowd immediately rushed towards the direction of the light. This bright light was emitted by me when I broke through to the 7th level of Qi refining. The previous battle had been a blessing in disguise. While my injuries were recovering, the breakthrough was also natural. With the improvement of my strength, the spirit patterns on my body also covered 1/5 of my body. But I still felt a sense of powerlessness in the face of Foundation establishment cultivators. Their long-range attacks and the heaven-defying spells they could unleash with a wave of their hand were always out of reach. At this moment, an angry roar suddenly spread throughout the entire mountain peak. Audacious snake demon! You killed my Banshan sect disciples. Come out and face your death. Wolf King heard this and frantically reminded me to run. I extended my divine sense to investigate and immediately realized something was wrong. Judging by the sound, there was still some distance. My divine sense couldn't detect any figures yet. The people from the Banshan sect were probably just trying to scare me. The old dog had set up a barrier for us. It shouldn't be that unreliable. I'll wait and see. If it comes to it, I'll fight with my life. Outside, the people from the Banshan sect arrived at the mountain peak. Under the sect leader's orders, the disciples began to spread out and search. At this moment, the sect disciples sent an urgent message, informing the sect leader, Xianxia, that the old ancestor's tomb had been robbed. Xianxia almost fainted from anger after reading it. He didn't bother searching for us and immediately returned to the sect with the disciples. The Black Emperor, not one to miss out on the fun, was hiding in the dark, feeling smug. Haha, they flew back again, as expected. If I could refine the corpse of the Banshan sect's ancestor into a corpse puppet, that would be interesting. It's a pity I haven't obtained the 3rd level of the Tiankui sect's cultivation technique yet. If I had known this would happen, I should have gone to the Tiankui sect and demanded a great gift. With my reputation back then, who would dare refuse me? Not to mention the Tiankui sect, even the headquarters, the Xiankui sect, would have to obey. An hour later, the Banshan sect's sect leader, Great Elder, and all the high-ranking members gathered at the back of the mountain. The mausoleum where their ancestor was buried had been dug up, leaving a large pit. The Third Order array above was like a decoration, directly ignored. The mausoleum was empty. Not only were the burial objects gone, but the corpse was also gone. Sect leader Xianxia's tears flowed uncontrollably. He knelt in front of the tomb and kowtowed continuously. The Banshan old ancestor was his most respected master. He valued his master's reputation more than his own life. The fact that the corpse had been stolen had crossed his bottom line. The surrounding high-ranking members discussed and soon guessed that the old black dog had done it. After all, everything had happened too coincidentally. They had just left when their ancestor's tomb was robbed. The other party had chosen this method, most likely to stand up for the snake demon, and the old black dog also had a history of digging up graves and stealing corpses. After analyzing, sect leader Xianxia immediately issued an order to offer a reward for the snake demon and the black dog demon. Those who provide clues will be rewarded with 100 spirit stones, and those who capture them will be rewarded with 200 spirit stones. No matter what, we must retrieve the old ancestor. At the same time, the Black Emperor had already returned to our hiding place. He knew that this place was no longer safe, so he found another suitable cave for cultivation 100 miles away. Taking advantage of the fact that the people from the Banshan sect hadn't returned, we quickly rushed to another mountain peak, Fengqi Mountain. After setting up the concealment array again, we finally felt at ease. Time quickly passed to the next day. The Black Emperor threw in a large snake puppet, the same one I had used as a substitute before. After being repaired, it was completely intact. I nodded and took out 3 storage bags, placing them on the ground, indicating that he had a share. The Black Emperor's eyes lit up. No need. You went through too much last time. I didn't even help. You deserve it all. Damn this hand of mine. He said this, but his hand honestly reached out. I was speechless. Just come and get it. After the storage bags were divided among the 4 of us, the Black Emperor took out a crystal ball. Come, it's time to test your spiritual roots. The direction of cultivation is a lifelong matter. You can't be careless. Xiaobai, you go first. Place your tail on it. Didn't little Suzy say you're interested in alchemy? If you can refine pills, we'll be blessed in the future. The little white snake placed its tail on the crystal ball, and the next instant, The ball lit up with a vibrant, emerald green light. It was dazzling, illuminating the entire cave dwelling in a verdant hue. The old black dog exclaimed, a single attribute. Top grade with spirit root. Such talent, even in the human world, would be a 1 in 10,000 prodigy. The major sects would be fighting over her. Hei Huang, black yellow, glanced at me and gave a knowing smile. A single with spirit root, if it appeared in a human woman, would undoubtedly make her an unparalleled, breathtaking beauty. Without exception. If she could take human form, who knows how many cultivators she could bewitch. Little Sue, you're a lucky one. My heart leaped with joy. I took out the wood attribute cultivation techniques and the alchemy and pruning shears from my storage bag and gave them to Little White. Little White stared at me intently, her eyes sparkling as if they held stars. She hesitated for a moment, then shyly asked, what should I call you? Great King? Or husband? My face flushed red, and I quickly stopped her. Stop. Just call me Su Hei. Hei Huang gave a sly grin. Little Sue, let her continue. Didn't you already have husband and wife relations with her before you knew? She should call you husband. It sounds more intimate. The white snake thought for a moment, and then asked, then, can I call you Su Bai? When I agreed, her eyes immediately lit up with joy. The Wolf King roared, then I'll give myself a name too. How about Su Lang, Su Wolf? Hei Huang curled his lip. That's not a good name. You should take my surname, Hei. Call yourself Ergo Second Dog. Although the Wolf King agreed to the name, she was very reluctant. She felt like it was an insult. Next, Ergo placed her paw on the crystal ball. Spiritual energy bloomed, and the crystal ball lit up with a faint glow, displaying 3 colors. Hei Huang shook his head immediately. Gold, fire, water, a 3-colored mixed spirit root. Per aptitude. The more spirit roots, the lower the quality. Many and mixed, like building with all different wood, all different shapes. Ergo instantly swallowed the rest of her sentence. Finally, it was my turn. I released my spiritual energy and placed my tail on the crystal ball. Instantly, the crystal ball lit up with a riot of colors. At first, it was an earthy yellow, then red, blue, gold, and purple. But then, the multicolored light grew brighter and brighter, becoming blindingly intense. Especially one of the earthy yellow lights. It was so bright it was almost blinding. Even the crystal ball developed a small crack, as if it was about to explode. I quickly retracted my spiritual energy, and the crystal ball calmed down. What happened? Was I a 7-colored mixed spirit root just now? Even worse aptitude than Ergo? Hei Huang pondered for a long time and then explained, you do have multiple spirit roots, but they are all of extremely high quality. I've never seen a situation like this. Especially the earth spirit root. Top grade isn't even enough to describe it. It's outrageous. But when I think about your learning speed, it all makes sense. Hearing his words, I decided not to dwell on it. Since the earth spirit root was the best, I should focus on cultivating earth attribute spells. After we all had our tests, Hei Huang pressed his paw onto the crystal ball. The crystal ball immediately emitted a black luster, like a black hole that could swallow all light. I curiously approached. Hei Huang, do you have no spirit root? Or a dark spirit root? Hei Huang chuckled. You could say it's a dark spirit root. My abilities have recovered a bit more. Next, I want to go into seclusion for a while to break through a bottleneck. Time flew by, and a month passed. Through this period of cultivation, my earth attribute spells had improved further. There were a total of 16 earth attribute spells, and I had already mastered 1 offensive and 2 defensive ones. Earth Release, Earth-Style Wall, and Earth Release, Earth-Style Armor. Next time I faced a Foundation Establishment cultivator, even if I couldn't win, I should be able to escape. Although my spellcasting had progressed, my cultivation level hadn't advanced much. The only useful Little Origin pills and high-level demonic beast meat were all gone. Little White had been obsessed with alchemy during this time. She had mixed a bunch of medicinal herbs together haphazardly and ended up refining a pitch-black pill. After Ergo ate it, she immediately started foaming at the mouth and collapsed. Seeing this, I quickly ran out. Compared to waiting for Little White to successfully refine pills, it was more practical to go out and hunt spirit beasts. I extended my divine sense, and before long, I found a herd of mammoths at the foot of the mountain. Mammoths were migratory demonic beasts, traveling in groups, eating as they went. When they had consumed all the trees in a particular forest, they would move on to the next area. This group consisted of 11 mammoths. The weakest, a cub, was already at the 7th or 3rd level of the spirit awakening stage. Their bloodline was very powerful, especially the leader, which was likely a demonic beast at the peak of the spirit awakening stage. Although I was very tempted, I didn't make a move. Demonic beasts like these were at the top of the food chain. They traveled in herds and were incredibly strong. Injuring one would bring the wrath of the entire herd. Even a foundation establishment cultivator would have difficulty escaping unscathed. Suddenly, the sound of rushing wind came from afar. I was startled and immediately used Earth Release to hide underground. Human cultivators were coming. I recognized them as the disciples of Carefree sect from their clothing. Their cultivation is between middle and late Qi refining stage. The leading one is very young, but with the highest cultivation, reaching foundation establishment. This person is named Hua Yutian, one of the true disciples under Xianxia. In just a few breaths, this group had surrounded the elephant herd. Everyone looked excited, their eyes filled with greed as they stared at the ivory tusks. Even in the cultivation world, ivory was a rare luxury, used to refine jade artifacts and magical treasures, and was highly sought after by cultivators. If we carve them into jade treasures and give them to the young ladies of the Purple Cloud sect, they'll definitely love them. With such gifts, wouldn't it be easy to cultivate with them? Hua Yuntian's lips curled into a smug smile. Everyone, set up the formation. Don't let a single one escape. The Carefree sect disciples, hearing this, took out formation flags and planted them in their respective positions. Soon, a faint light barrier gradually formed, encompassing the entire elephant herd. The strongest leader of the elephant herd immediately charged forward, slamming its sharp tusks against a point on the light barrier. The barrier shook violently, and tiny cracks appeared. Hua Yutian snorted coldly and took out a long spear, throwing it through the air. The spear instantly pierced through a large elephant, causing it to bleed profusely and let out a pained roar. After piercing through, the spear's momentum continued, heading towards a young elephant. Seeing that it was about to hit, the leader jumped up and blocked it with its body. I watched from the sidelines, frowning. They weren't even sparing the young elephants. This was too much. I had to find a way to help them, at least to protect the pregnant females and the young elephants. Otherwise, there would be none left to eat in the future. But the snake hunters were numerous, and I couldn't act rashly. Otherwise, if I became a target, I might not be able to save myself. I had to wait for a foolproof opportunity. At this moment, the injured elephant herd became even more frenzied. The leader stomped its feet on the ground, suddenly erupting with 10 times its strength and charged forward. The light barrier trembled and immediately showed dense cracks. Hua Yuntian's expression changed, and he said, "Leader of the elephant herd, I know you're intelligent and can understand human speech. If you obediently hand over your tusks, I can let you live, even if you don't consider yourself. You should think about those cubs." The leader ignored him, raised its head to the sky, and let out a loud roar. The elephant herd continued to charge, and the light barrier finally shattered with a loud bang. A large gap appeared, and several pregnant female elephants led 3 young elephants out, covered in wounds, and ran quickly towards the distance. Hua Yuntian's face was extremely gloomy. "Damn it, you're courting death. Do you want to leave a legacy? Then I'll cut off your roots first," he said, throwing out a flying sword, aiming straight for the fleeing female elephants in the distance. At this moment, the leader raised its nose and knocked the flying sword down. The leader and the other male elephants hadn't been attacking the light barrier to escape themselves, but to leave a glimmer of hope for their clan. Their eyes were filled with a crazed fury as they charged towards the human cultivators. Hua Yutian immediately ordered, "Send 3 people to chase the fleeing female elephants and young elephants. The rest of you, deal with the main force of the elephant herd with me." Seeing this, I realized my opportunity had come. I immediately used Earth Release to its full extent, sinking into the ground and following behind. The 3 Carefree sect cultivators, one was at the 9th level of the Qi refining stage, and 2 were at the 7th level of the Qi refining stage. The cultivator at the 9th level of the Qi refining stage was the first to approach, leaping up and raising his sword to slash at the young elephant at the very back. It was at this moment that I also made my move. I controlled the earth to suddenly rise into a sharp cone, thrusting towards his body with lightning speed. The man had no time to defend with a spell and was instantly impaled and torn to shreds. The 2 cultivators at the 7th level of the Qi refining stage behind him were terrified. "There are other enemies. Quickly go back and report to Marshal Uncle Hua." They realized something was wrong and turned to run. But before they had gone far, they were horrified to discover that they were already surrounded by a large group of densely packed small lizards. The small lizards simultaneously spat out white light. Surging beams of spiritual energy shot out from all directions, striking the two men. Screams of pain rang out continuously. Within a few breaths, the two men were blasted into mincemeat. After dealing with the three, I quickly collected their storage bags and incinerated their corpses. They deserved it. Storage bags acquired, and the mother elephant and calves are saved. I'll keep watch. See if any other cultivators are alone. The battle ended quickly. The male elephants were battered and on the verge of death. They were covered in spears and spikes. Their wounds were so deep that bone was visible, and blood flowed freely. Hua Tian was getting impatient. Why haven't those idiots returned? With their cultivation, it should only take half an incense stick's time to deal with them. Go and take a look. A disciple, hearing this, leaped up and rushed towards the direction of the previous pursuit. However, before he had gone far, he was ambushed by an earth spike and cut in half at the waist, dying instantly. Hua Yuntian's expression changed drastically. Who is attacking? Come out. He roared while sweeping out with his divine sense. But he covered 300 meters and still found nothing. At this time, I was hiding underground, wondering. Although this person's cultivation was at the early stage of foundation establishment, his divine sense wasn't very strong. I didn't know if he was genuinely weak or if he was pretending. I couldn't be careless. After Hua Yuntian's hysterical roar, he took out a large handful of revealing sand and scattered it around the area. The revealing sand quickly spread out 100 meters, but still, no invisible creatures were found. The remaining people looked at each other, their hearts filled with vigilance. They stood back to back, preventing spikes from appearing under their pierced feet. Seeing their nervous appearance, I intentionally controlled the small lizards to rush towards a certain location. Hua Tian, sensing this, instantly threw his spear and hit the small lizard. What? It's a puppet? Puppet technique? Earth spike. Who are you? Just as he was burning with anger, sharp stone pillars suddenly emerged from beneath the other several people's rear ends. Even though they were prepared, some were still pierced through along with their armor and magical treasures. Their corpses fell to the ground, their deaths extremely gruesome. Hua Yuntian's face was uglier than if he had eaten shit. He was about to explode with anger. He had never been so humiliated in his life. The opponent was hiding in the shadows, toying with him like a monkey. If you have the guts, don't hide in the shadows. Come out and fight me face to face. As soon as he finished speaking, the distant sky suddenly rumbled. The earth shook as if a giant wheel was rolling over it. A barbaric giant elephant, carrying a surging demonic wind, stepped through the air, its momentum like the sky collapsing and the earth cracking. Any cultivators it encountered along the way were directly crushed underfoot. Is it you? Dare to touch my descendants? The giant elephant continued to stride, covering 100 zhang with each step, attacking the crowd frantically. It's bad. It's a great demon at the peak of the foundation establishment stage. Run. Hua Tian was terrified and immediately fled. Of course, I wouldn't miss the opportunity to kick a dog while it was down. I immediately cast Earth Spike in front of Hua Tian. Hua Tian seemed to sense something and hurriedly shifted slightly to the side. The instant he dodged, a sharp stone pillar emerged, almost grazing his body. Although it didn't cause any damage, it slowed him down. With this slight delay, the barbaric giant elephant had already caught up to him. Although I don't know who was helping, Manjing, will remember this favor. Die, you thief. Earth-shattering stomp. The giant elephant's front paw, carrying 1,000 gene of force, stomped down towards Hua Tian. Hua Tian's protective magical treasure barely managed to withstand it. He knew that if he continued to fight like this, he would surely die, so he gritted his teeth and took out his trump card magical treasure, the life and death reincarnation jade pendant. I didn't pay attention to the battle between the man and the elephant after that. Instead, I seized the time to search for the cultivator's storage bags. The group of male elephants were almost all dead, mostly from serious injuries. Only one was still breathing. I thought for a moment and decided to be a good person to the end. I took out a healing pill from my storage bag and put it in his mouth. Half an incense stick later, the barbaric giant elephant returned. I didn't linger. I watched from afar for a moment and then quickly turned to leave. From a distance, I heard a loud cry. Friend in the shadows, my man Elephant Clan owes you a favor. If you appear in the future, you will be greatly rewarded. This was the voice of the barbaric giant elephant. Great demons of this level already possess the ability to communicate with language. I sighed, feeling a little speechless. I had originally come to hunt, but instead, I ended up saving lives and healing the wounded. The barbaric giant elephant returned so quickly. Did Hua Tian die? In such a short time, the other party couldn't have run far. If I went to the scene, maybe I could still get the final blow and loot a storage bag. Thinking of this, I immediately shook my head and dismissed the idea. This Hua Tian had a powerful background. What if he was a disciple of that Tribulation Crossing cultivator? If I went to loot the corpse at this time, I might run into that person. Forget it, forget it. It's best to quit while you're ahead. Don't be too. Time passed, and that had been dead for a long time. Hua Tian suddenly opened his eyes and coughed violently. His flattened body gradually swelled. The scattered flesh and blood converged towards the center. At this moment, a calm voice sounded, "Disciple, are you awake?" As the voice fell, a middle-aged scholar's illusory figure gradually appeared in the air. Hua Tian hurriedly asked, "Master, did that despicable person appear?" The middle-aged scholar shook his head. "It has been 3 days since your feigned death, and he has not appeared. I give this person a 9 out of 10 for his scheming." Hearing this, Hua Tian's seriously injured body trembled. Enraged and heartbroken, he coughed violently again. The middle-aged scholar frowned. "Disciple, I can only give you a 0 for your mental fortitude. Never mind. You're too seriously injured this time. I'll take you to the Purple Clouds sect for treatment first.